Chapter 5630. However, these people have now fallen. The Taoist monarchs on the original star of Jiajiu, now the weakest, are probably the fifth-order emperors. Tearing the sky has fallen for almost an epoch, and they were all Tier 5 peak emperors at the beginning. Not to mention a million stars that are bigger than the potential of tearing the sky. Although the progress of the Wanqing emperor, who is walking, is slow, it has never stopped. Now he has entered the ranks of the sixth-order emperor, and his combat power is not weak. Now that I have left the Temple of Qixin, I heard that it was in the long river of time and space. He took down an entire primitive universe and renamed it the 10,000-star universe. Although he does not control the universe, he has the power of a universe. He is already the overlord of one party. Time flies. Jian Wushuang slowly got up, looked up at the mural on the stone wall of the cave mansion, and said with emotion, "Remember the joy of seeing the innate treasure for the first time?" Huiqing also stood up, and then turned over a small scarlet building. "Why, I will forget it. This was the innate treasure of Mo Long God Emperor. And it is the congenital peak treasure. That is a treasure used by the emperors. But now, the emperors among the inheritors are all eternal treasures used. There are even the treasures of the universe. This Jian Wushuang is not clear, but Huiqing is on the Tomb Mountain in this era. But he knows it clearly. Today, the first inheritor of the Tomb Mountain is Huiqing himself. The second inheritor is the merchant. The third inheritor is a strange ultimate emperor. So much so that even Huiqing has not seen it a few times, and seldom walked around in the four secret realms, and had been practicing in the Tomb Mountain. On the Tomb God Mountain, only those who can reach the 55th floor are eligible for permanent residence. Now there are only 10 people who have obtained this qualification. Wow! Huiqing directly shined the ranking on the stone wall. First, Huiqing 60th floor. Second, Shang 58 floors. Third, Backbone Luo 54th floor. Fourth, Emperor Guangying 52 floors. Fifth, Tongtian Buddha the 51st floor. Among the top 5, almost all are the first batch of inheritors. Jian Wushuang was surprised that Tongtian Buddha was ranked 5th. The remaining 5 people are all 50 floors. It was only recently squeezed. The ranking of Huiqing and Shang is far ahead. If it hadn't been for Broly to be sentenced to the Temple of Difference, I'm afraid he would also be ranked in the top 5. The rate of progress of the quotient is still the same as before, steadily moving forward. It is also the Temple of Qixin, a popular figure, who has been promoted to Tribulation Realm. Almost everyone is optimistic that Shang will step into the robbery sooner. Because the space of business has already reached the universe realm, I am afraid they are all completed now. As for the pinnacle secret method, it is only a trace short of reaching consummation. Once they are all consummated, they will be able to reach the 60th floor directly and become a robbery realm. Although Huiqing's combat power and realm are strong, the time of cultivation is still too short. If you want to become a tribulation realm, you can't practice here all the time, and you need a lot of opportunities. It's just this kind of opportunity. The Qixin is very few inside, and even said that there is nothing that can be pulled out. When Huiqing joined the Tao, it led to the Three Kings' court, let alone an opportunity for the tribulation. This kind of opportunity should be in the Temple of Qixin, but there are not many. If you want to become a turning point for the robbery, it is still in the outside world. Jian Wushuang held his breath and concentrated his mind. He felt that the Temple of Qixin was helpful to him when he was in the Emperor. Jian Wushuang, who had peered into the corner of Morwo's time and space, was also longing for the mighty long river of time and space. This is the place where the real strong live, not the artificial secret realm like the Temple of Qixin. The long river of time and space where the primitive universe is now named Miki. It has started to explode. The Emperor first broke out. When the number of emperors reaches a certain level, the robbery realm will also emerge at the historic moment, thus opening up a new era. The era division of Miki Changha is actually somewhat similar to the original Morwa time and space. From nothing, to the arrival of the Temple of Qi, and then to the Temple of Destruction. I don't know how many levels have been raised directly. The original Morwa time and space, The wild period is not as good as this long river of time and space. At least this long river of time and space. The human race is flourishing. Basically, there are no foreign enemies. The human race has always been born from the primitive universe. It is also peaceful to get along with a special life. The Temple of Qishan and the Temple of Destruction, the same as the god of Morwa time and space, are both opportunities for practitioners to break through. The original Morwa time and space, after the divine destruction, became more powerful. I don't know whether the destruction of the two temples will make this long river of time and space go further. After chatting a lot with Huiqing, Jian Wushuang gradually got acquainted with the outside world. The main reason why the current Temple of Destruction of the world is able to compete with the Temple of Qishan is that the Temple of Destruction of the world has a very low threshold for recruiting inheritors. In other words, there is no threshold. Even mortals accept it. And the layout is very deep, from top powerhouses to mundane forces. Everyone believes in the Temple of Destruction of the world, mainly to extinction. Exit. Jian Wushuang's eyes contained lightning, and the cup in his hand was instantly shaken into powder. Huiqing frowned and asked, "Brother Wushuang, you have dealt with this person, how is his strength?" "I don't know, but he can compete with Master True Spirit. We are not opponents at all." Jian Wushuang shook his head. In fact, he also knew the True Spirit's strength from the mouth of the Frosa, and inferred the current extinction based on the True Spirit's strength. Even stronger than the True Spirit. But he didn't tell Huiqing. He also has his own thoughts in his heart. The identity of extinction is not that simple. It has something to do with the of Morwa time and space. And it is also related to the Dongjun in the starry sky. It has a great connection with him. This was the second person he couldn't figure out. If it's just a half-step 7 tribulations realm, Jian Wushuang has the confidence and hope to chase without fear. But in terms of the identity of the death in the time of God was probably stronger than the gods. Without absolute strength he would not take risks. This is also the reason why he dare not go out. Now in the Temple of Qishan is full of undercurrents. Although he can't threaten him, it can threaten those inheritors. So that the True Spirit gave up the cultivation of inheritors in the Qishan Temple. Instead, all the hundreds of millions of inheritors will go out and open up the second generation of inheritors. But in this way, the quality will also drop a lot. In addition to the teachings of the Temple of Destruction, the Temple of Qi is even more passive. Although the treasure is no less than the Temple of Destroying the World. But some treasures are prepared for Tianjiao, so I can't give them all the waste. Especially some emperors with weak roots are of no use at all. The Temple of Destruction has prepared a lot for these. With holy water, you can sacrifice your life and let your strength skyrocket. Chapter 56:31. Although it can't be improved in the later stage, the treasures that can increase the combat power by 100,000 times in a short period of time are more attractive than those that are slowly cultivated. Especially for those emperors with average qualifications. Huiqing pondered for a while, and finally seemed to have made some kind of decision and said, "If I go further, no matter what Master True Spirit persuades, I will go out to find out." At this time Jian Wushuang remembered that Jiang Shang had already gone to the Temple of Destruction, and his status was very high. If Broly is the first of war in the Temple of Destruction, then Jiang Shang is like a saint. The strength is terrible. After so long, no one knows how strong she is now. More than half an epoch ago, when the Qinglong Palace Master and Broly fought, they almost directly killed each other. After Jiang Shang made a move, no one knew the outcome, only that Jiang Shang retreated with Broly all over. But Palace Master Qinglong suffered a lot of injuries. This news is top secret, few people know it, and Jian Wushuang also knows it from the White Tiger Palace Master. In order not to affect morale, it was not announced. Now on the bright side, Qishan Temple has an advantage. But in the long run, the advantage of Qishan Temple will gradually weaken. Jiang Shang's strength can now be said to be the best in the entire time and space. Palace Master Qinglong is not an opponent. If the deity of Miexing and True Spirit doesn't go out, no one will be her opponent. The only hope is the current Huiqing. After Zhenling figured this out, Huiqing had been flickering at the tomb mountain, fearing that Huiqing would take refuge in the Temple of Destruction after leaving the Temple of Qixin. What is needed now is hatred. The more people Jiang Shang killed in the outside world, the better, so that Huiqing and Jiang Shang could go to the opposite side. Huiqing didn't understand this, but Jian Wushuang understood after a little thought. Perhaps, the future Jiang Shang is not his catastrophe, but Huiqing's catastrophe. Thinking of this, Jian Wushuang couldn't help but feel a little sigh. Huiqing was too miserable. Jian Wushuang shook his head. Seeing his expression, Huiqing frowned and asked, "Brother Wushuang, what are your plans this time?" "Let's join hands first," Jian Wushuang said calmly. Now he wants to devote all his thoughts to Kotao. As long as Kotao is successful, nothing will be a problem. Huiqing also nodded, agreeing. "It's time to join the Tao. I can't quite see your current strength. Once the combination is successful, I'm afraid you will be the first inheritor of the Tomb God Mountain." Huiqing doesn't have much idea about who is number one, but Jian Wushuang was able to become the number one. He was still very happy. Even if he grabbed the number one from him, it didn't matter. The relationship between the two can be said to be a life and death relationship, and Jian Wushuang has rescued him countless times. "Huiqing, we can't keep our eyes on the Tomb God Mountain." Jian Wushuang waved his hand. He has no interest in the first inheritor now, and then said, "Don't you always want to go out? Wait for my success. We brothers might as well leave the Temple of Qixin." Although he can do nothing for the sake of strength, Huiqing is a reliable friend after all. He can't bear to watch Huiqing become of the true spirit. After Huiqing heard what he said, he leaked an expression of joy and said, "That's what I think. Then I will go out and learn about the methods of the Temple of Destruction." Regardless of Huiqing's usually dull, kind eyebrows and good intentions, in fact, the combative heart in her bones is stronger than Jian Wushuang. "What is the Temple of Destruction of the world?" Jian Wushuang shook his head with a look of disdain, and then said, "Do you know how many time and space there are in this starry sky? And how many powerhouses there are? Why stay here? It's better to go to other long rivers of time and space. Raise your strength to the peak, and then return to smooth everything." This is not what he is bragging about. Once the harmony is successful, as long as Zhenling does not change his mind, he will open the passage and head to other time and space rivers. As long as the time and space river is similar to the original Morwa time and space, his opportunities will not be worse than the present, and the improvement will be faster. When the time comes, after becoming a robbery, it is enough to return. Based on his background, after becoming a tribulation realm, it is not impossible that he has the treasure of time and space, as well as the beasts and gods that are about to be restored. The identity of extinction is useless no matter how mysterious. In the face of absolute strength, everything is vain. Go to other long rivers of time and space? Huiqing was stunned, and then said in surprise, "Starry sky." "Yes, it's the starry sky." Jian Wushuang nodded. It seems that Huiqing also knows about the starry sky. Sure enough, the strength of the other party is not only due to the reasons of the previous life, but also the secret of the starry sky. It seems that every person who is against the sky has a connection with the starry sky. But where are we going? Huiqing was also a little tempted, or she had some concerns. Jian Wushuang pointed to the top and said, "The great true spirit will open up a passage for us." When speaking, he deliberately raised his voice, and his tone was extremely respectful. He doesn't know if the true spirit can see here, but the true spirit will definitely be able to hear the conversation between the two of them. Sure enough, after a while, Zhenling sent someone to summon Jian Wushuang. He and Huiqing were almost talking about it, and they also told some plans for the future. Go to other long rivers of time and space, strengthen yourself, and then return to the current long river of time and space. Let Huiqing think about the rest. The one who summoned Jian Wushuang was a guardian of the Tomb Mountain. Jian Wushuang had also seen each other. Not surprised. The reason why this Tomb Mountain bears a tomb character is because the great existence, the god, is buried here. But when I think of it, the relationship between the and death, the great word may be removed. Following the guardian, Jian Wushuang directly reached the top of the mountain. There is a wind pavilion here. Ancient characters are engraved on the top. Holding the pavilion, a long-lasting power made Jian Wushuang's whole body tremble. I have seen it, Master True Spirit. Jian Wushuang bowed slightly. The True Spirit standing in the pavilion with his back to Jian Wushuang did not turn his head and said indifferently, "Come in and sit down." Jian Wushuang cautiously stepped forward. As for the guardian, he had already left wisely. The True Spirit overlooks the tomb mountain. Where is it standing? Naturally, he dared not really sit down, but was slightly behind half a position, standing next to the True Spirit, overlooking the tomb mountain together. I have prepared all the treasures needed by Hadao, Jinling said indifferently. Jian Wushuang was ecstatic in his heart. For the first time, he felt that the True Spirit was very generous, and he thought so thoughtfully that he actually prepared the treasures he needed for Hadao. But after another thought, I felt something was wrong. For fear of being pitted by the True Spirit, I wanted to refuse. Don't think about it. I just don't want you to fail in harmony. Zhenling turned his head and glanced at Jian Wushuang, feeling speechless in his heart, and asked himself, did he have that buckle? Chapter 56-32. Jian Wushuang knew that the True Spirit had seen through the hesitation in his heart, and quickly denied. It's too late to thank your subordinates. How dare you think about it? This great kindness, Wushuang will always remember. Ha! Zhenling snorted coldly, and said in a bad mood. I haven't been in harmony yet. I just want to drag the family away. Can you remember my favor? This, Jian Wushuang was very embarrassed. At first, the Real Spirit told him that he could open a channel to send him into other time and space. But now he says he is going to run away. Right. He broke a piece of True Spirit. The investment in Huiqing is huge. From the first reincarnation to learn, to the later Three Kings Court. The True Spirit obviously spent a lot of effort. How could it be broken? Because he is a Taoist monarch. Master True Spirit, Huiqing's potential is well known to you and I. You can't be so wasted. Jian Wushuang simply pierced through the screen window and said directly. After Zhenling heard it, he was also taken aback. Jian Wushuang is a master who pretends to be confused. How could he suddenly be so direct? Oh, do you think I was wasting his potential? Zhenling said. His aura suddenly increased. Jian Wushuang staggered and almost fell. Jian Wushuang stood firm, clasped his fists and respectfully said. This is not what his subordinates meant, but because of Huiqing's character. I believe that adults know that Huiqing's character is by no means an ungrateful person, and there is no need for Jiang Shang's involvement. He will not be against the gods. I said so, but do you know that he once shot Qinglong for that Jiang Shang? There was anger on Zhenling's face. When Huiqing shot Qinglong, he almost gave up Huiqing. If it weren't for the appearance of extinction, Jiang Shang would be taken away. Now Huiqing has either fallen or been suppressed. It's not bad to be a now. After Jian Wushuang listened, he shook his head and said gravely, You are wrong. He still expressed his opinion from the bottom of his heart. The reason why Huiqing shot Qinglong was because he didn't know what was in Jiang Shang's body. I just want an explanation. The original Jiang Shang didn't mean to threaten the temple of Qishan at all. That's why Huiqing would take action to stop the palace master Qinglong. But now it's different. Jiang Shang went to the temple of destruction. Even if Huiqing was thinking about her old feelings in her heart, she would not take refuge in the temple of destruction like Jiang Shang. At the same time, Jian Wushuang also understood Zhenling's scruples. What if you end up raising a white-eyed wolf? But he has absolute confidence in Huiqing. It's impossible. Although the True Spirit was relieved, his face was still grim. Maybe I was wrong, but Jian Wushuang knows better than anyone else. In the temple of Qishan, I'd rather be wrong than there should be any accidents. Jian Wushuang straightened his body and looked at the True Spirit. At a certain moment, he suddenly felt a little bit painful to understand the True Spirit. A True Spirit supports this temple of Qishan, still working hard to fulfill the last wish of the gods. Let Qishan temple be great again. The gods were sent away, and the extinction came again. The most important thing is the ambiguity. It seems that Jinling has seen the true face of Qixin. The is the true spirit, and the true spirit is the god. Although the true spirit is bound to the Qixin temple, it is more like an array spirit. But he has some memories, even habits. This hit the true spirit even more. My lord, maybe we are all right. What's wrong is this era? Jian Wushuang gritted his teeth and said with a heavy tone. I wait for Tianjiao, but I am unwilling to be a pawn. I hope that the adults will complete it. Zhenling slowly turned his head, looking to the side of Jian Wushuang. A trace of anger emerged in his eyes, and then disappeared again. It was not that he could not bear it, nor was Jian Wushuang's true feelings that moved him, but he saw a glimmer of hope from Jian Wushuang, or that he saw the future from Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang at that time could move the world. Is a strong man. Only such a strong person can have such a temperament. He didn't see the wrong person as expected. Tell me about your plan. True Spirit calmed down and asked actively. Jian Wushuang saw that there was a play, and directly expressed his thoughts. After he unites, he will not leave alone. It is to take away a group of people. This is not a runaway. Although Jian Wushuang is indeed not authentic sometimes, he can distinguish the kindness of Qixin Temple, and the extinction is mainly for him. After all, it must be right. But he needs time. Go to other long rivers of time and space to practice, and then return after becoming a robbery. At first, he heard that the real spirit wanted to send him away, and he hadn't thought of taking other people away. But since he knew the future, he made a crazy plan. Prepare to let Qixin Temple come to an empty plan, to select a group of people with the most potential, and travel to other time and space together, is not only for a better cultivation environment, but also for the purpose of leaving a kind of fire. After seeing the miserable situation in the future, Jian Wushuang had to think so. If you rely on him alone, even if you become a tribulation realm, it will take a long time to cultivate to the 5 tribulations realm, or even the 6 tribulations realm. True Spirit had confidence in him, but it didn't mean Jian Wushuang had confidence in him. Everything in the future can be decided. It's like he has always had faith in Hadao, but he failed. If it weren't for his complete Dao heart, I am afraid that he would not be able to walk out of the shadow of the future for a lifetime, and there would still be a lot of resistance to his harmony. It's better now. The Taoist heart is complete, and the hope of harmony is very great. Therefore, he proposed to transfer a group of people and leave together, just to be on the safe side. Zhenling hesitated after hearing it. After all, it is a strong man cultivated by the Temple of Qixin, and the resources spent can be said to be countless. Just send it off. What if these people don't come back by that time? This is a bet. Can you guarantee it? Zhenling asked. Jian Wushuang naturally knew what the guarantee was, and swears directly to the source at the moment. I mean others. My lord, can make them take the oath of origin, not afraid they won't come back. Zhenling was still a little worried, and then said, what if they suppress the realm? This Jian Wushuang had also thought about it a long time ago. Then he explained, don't worry, my lord. If there are such people among our inheritors, they are not qualified to go to other time and space rivers. Those who are qualified to go will definitely not have this plan. After all, they don't know the power of extinction. Zhenling was still satisfied with this explanation, and after nodding his head, he did not give an accurate answer. Jian Wushuang also knew that this kind of thing still had to give True Spirit some time. After waiting for a while, he changed the subject and talked about extinction. The matter of extinction can't be announced to the public for the time being. His identity is very mysterious. Even I can't figure it out. Zhenling shook his head and said, this is nothing, but it seems that the real spirit does not know as much as he knows. Chapter 56:33. However, the true spirit didn't intend to make it public, and he couldn't let the true spirit know that the extinction came from God. My lord, what will happen after his death power is combined with my life power? Zhenling leaked a smile, stretched out his palm, and suddenly 2 groups of power appeared. This is the origin of water and fire. What will happen to the combination of them? Jian Wushuang said directly. The combination of water and fire is against the trend, especially the combination of origin. Few people in Dian Immortal do it. Once the combination is successful, it can explode 100 times, or even 1,000 times more power than pure water and fire. The origin is much stronger. That's right, just like the combination of life and death. I don't know what will become, but I know that after they merge, they will be very powerful, even beyond the origin of time. Exceeding the origin of time, it also means that it is stronger than the robbery realm. It is too difficult to say so, but to do it. No wonder extinction will pursue him, from the of Morwa time and space to the present. Once integrated, that is the power to transcend the tribulation realm. Zhenling also valued this point before he changed his view. By the way, I forgot to tell you that apart from you, Jiang Shang also has life force in her body, but not as pure as yours. It should be the life force of the original spirit in her body. After Jian Wushuang heard this, he was shocked and didn't dare to say, "How is this possible?" Subsequently, an unprecedented vitality burst out directly from the body, condensing a huge green sphere. He pointed to the sphere and said, "Probably how much better than this? This life force probably occupies 1/10 of the life force in his body." Zhen Ling was frightened by the sight, and jumped far away, his eyes rounded, staring at the life force and said in shock, "It's not so exaggerated. Her original spirit is very fragile, and possesses the power of life is probably the vitality of a tribulation realm, or the vitality of vegetation life, and it is probably 1/10,000th of this group of vitality." Ha! Jian Wushuang let out a sigh of relief before he felt relieved. Zhen Ling was surprised at the bottom of his heart, and expressed absolute affirmation for choosing Jian Wushuang. This is too outrageous. Even a bold idea appeared in his mind. If Jian Wushuang were to preside over the big formation, what would happen to the body of the god? In the first prison, Jian Wushuang's life force was able to restore Fuego, and Jian Wushuang is now stronger than before. After the success of Hadao, it is a qualitative leap. Of course, relying on the physical body alone cannot revive the gods, and he still needs his true spirit. Take the true spirit as the source to restore the body of the god. If he really wants to succeed, I'm afraid he will be able to get rid of the temple of Qishan and go out. However, he did not intend to tell Jian Wushuang directly, but waited for Jian Wushuang to become the emperor first. He really wanted to see how powerful Jian Wushuang would become after becoming an emperor. A Taoist monarch can be as strong as this. Becoming an emperor, I can hardly imagine. After learning about the current situation, Jian Wushuang did not plan to go to the Tomb Sacred Mountain for a while. Instead, he planned to go directly to the place prepared by the true spirit for him to retreat again. This retreat is for harmony. Tomb God Mountain, public area, mountains and seas. Here, there is a natural origin of everything, among which I opened up the cave. You can go directly in. As soon as the real spirit pointed out, the sea broke open, revealing a huge sea mountain range. Jian Wushuang's eyes straightened, and he had seen the light radiating from that mountain. That is the mine. It is a rare mine. It is more valuable than Nine Dragon Mountain. I am afraid that such a mountain range is comparable to the Space Huoming Mountain, the natural origin of everything. That should be the original source. Jian Wushuang was a little excited. Before he joins the path, he will raise all of his body to the limit. Only in this way can we have greater certainty. The limit of the divine body, the limit of the source. He has to do it. Remember, you can't be anxious in harmony, and the cohesion of space can't make any mistakes. Otherwise it will be difficult for your kendo to blend in. Zhen Ling asked. Jian Wushuang nodded, and after thanking him, he was not polite, and went straight into the mountain cave mansion. Wow! After passing through a curtain of water, Jian Wushuang entered the cave that the true spirit had prepared for him. This cave is a little messy, not as magnificent as he thought. There are even some weeds on the walls. Of course, the grass that can grow here is not a weed, but some elixir. It's just that these help to Jian Wushuang was so small that it was naturally not seen in his eyes. Instead, go straight to the depths. That's where the real spirit opened up. A huge stone bed. There is a trace of the power of all things rising above. It seems to be the natural power of all things mentioned by the true spirit. And above the stone bed, there is a mustard seed suspended. Call. Look what treasure is there. Jian Wushuang stretched out his hand and directly absorbed the mustard seeds into his hand. The moment Nianli penetrated the mustard seeds, the bright light in front of his eyes flickered, then frowned. This is... Jian Wushuang stared at the treasure in the beam of light in surprise, his face full of shock. Beast God's flesh and blood. And it's the flesh and blood of the golden beast god. The golden beast god, that can represent space. The flesh and blood of the space beast god. This help to his harmony is simply too great. Jian Wushuang's breathing was a bit heavy. This flesh and blood can not only help him condense the origin of the space, but also help him improve the divine body, and even the beast weapon. After thinking of the beast soldier, he directly took off the beast soldier. I have been thinking about letting the true spirit help him restore the full power of the beast weapon. Now it seems that he can do it himself is enough. He had already gathered all the parts of the beast god soldier. On the stone bed, the beast soldier who retreated from Jian Wushuang was floating. From top to bottom, they are the eye of the candle dragon, the blood skull of the candle dragon, the wings of the candle dragon, the inner armor of the candle dragon, the claws of the candle dragon, and the heart of the candle dragon. Plus this flesh and blood. Jian Wushuang suddenly had an idea in his heart. Raising his hand to refine the flesh and blood and instill it into the beasts, a complete skeleton was formed in an instant. Jian Wushuang took out the blood of the eight-clawed beast emperor that had been killed at the beginning of the earth, and the force of life continued to give birth, refining the blood of 10,000 battles into one drop, which fell on the heart of the beast god. Superior. A series of invisible barriers began to be born. It is a complete space, and it is very stable. Sure enough, it's the same as I guessed. Jian Wushuang leaked a smile, looked up at the perfect space. The sword intent in his body kept humming. But he did not integrate directly. This space can be used for reference. He has to comprehend in this space, and then create his own space. Chapter 56-34. Once the space is formed, he is only left with Hadao. This time, it is the most primitive space to comprehend. The life force in the body continued to emerge and explode, all of which was input into the inside of the beasts. In this space, the beasts seem to have revived. The lifelike candle dragon wanders in space. Complete beasts and soldiers. The origin of it is formed from the nutrients in the flesh and blood, but it is still a little weak now, and it will be necessary for him to slowly accumulate in the future. Jian Wushuang didn't care too much about this. He cares more about this space. Hadao. Ordinary Dao monarchs need to open up space within their origin. It is relatively easy to understand the origin of space in advance. After opening up the space, integrate one's own Tao into the space. Then a powerful source will appear in his space. For example, the primitive universe is a universe where everything is born naturally. There are countless ways inside. If you want to control it, you need your own spatial origin, which is stronger than the origin of the original universe. Space is everything for the emperor, and the emperor only had room for cultivation, constantly making the space stronger. The emperor's strength will become stronger and stronger. Moreover, after becoming an emperor, he has his own space, which can accommodate everything, and the richness of the foundation is not comparable to that of the Taoist. The reason why Jian Wushuang is so against the sky is not because of his strong background, because he has all things in the extreme, so he is so strong. Every emperor has space, and it can be said that every emperor is similar to Jidao. It's just that the power of all things in their space is too small to be swallowed, and they can only be refined slowly. Jian Wushuang's Jidao is a quick success. After understanding this, Jian Wushuang soon made some adjustments to himself. The sea of origin in the body began to gather continuously. He wants to use countless powers of all things to create an unprecedented space, and then integrate his own kendo into it. The power of all things is transformed by Jidao. In this way, his Jidao will completely disappear, or in other words, his Jidao will be transformed into a space, and will accompany him in another posture. Come back. Jian Wushuang sat cross-legged on the stone bed beckoning. The soaring candle dragon flew into his body. Click. Sung. The dark red armor wrapped Jian Wushuang tightly. A single eye, exuding a dark red halo, and there are brown electric arcs flickering around. The origin of the beast god, although still a little weak, but with Jian Wushuang's life force, directly burst out all potential. Before joining the Tao, I didn't expect to refining the beast warriors to perfection. This made Jian Wushuang very surprised and delighted. Before he joined together, he still had an important thing to do. That is the second soul. He wants to leave behind a group of Taoist origins, ready to refine the second soul. As long as there is the origin of the Taoist, and the continuous life force to nourish it, it will always exist. After he succeeds in harmony, he can go to refine this second soul. At that time, directly refining to become the Emperor's soul, the strength will be even stronger. This is given to him by the true spirit. With the second soul, he can let the deity go to other time and space for adventure, and the second soul stays in the Qixin temple, which is considered to have made 2 preparations. After setting up everything, he began to feel his state of mind, let himself fall into the real cultivation, and maintain his peak state. Overnight, nothing happened. In Jian Wushuang's mind, everything suddenly appeared empty. Distracted thoughts disappeared one after another, replaced by space. A complete space was placed in front of him. Gather, Jian Wushuang shouted in a low voice. In the Sea of Origin, thunder and lightning flashed. On the sea tornadoes are constantly pouring out. Countless sea water rose into the sky, as if there was a suction in the sky. The Sea of Origin within the body continued to gather power, and a film of enchantment began to appear. Diameter, 100,000 miles. A perfect space is being born. This is a pure space. Jian Wushuang has not yet used the power of all things. An ordinary Taoist who can do this step is actually very close to the success of the Tao. The diameter of 100,000 li in the body. Once the connection is successful, it is a second-order emperor. But Jian Wushuang comprehended space in advance, and even elevated the origin of space to the realm of black holes. How could it just give up? Pole! Hum! In that miniature space, countless violent powers suddenly burst out. That is the origin of Jian Wushuang's space. The pole is the black hole. Taking the central pole as the scope, the black hole continues to expand. It's just that without the blessing of the power of all things, the black hole expands very slowly. But Jian Wushuang was not in a hurry. Zhenling hereby confessed that he shouldn't be anxious. How could he get confused? The meal needs to be eaten bite by bite. He must first completely stabilize the origin of the space, and then expand with the extreme path. The origin of his space has reached the realm of the black hole, although the expansion is slow. But once it expands, even if there is no extreme way, he can reach the level of the 6th-order emperor in one fell swoop. The prerequisite for becoming a 6th-order emperor is the realm of the black hole. Of course, indigenous people with incomplete origins can reach the 6th-order emperor without reaching the black hole state, and reaching the black hole realm can become the ultimate. However, Jian Wushuang's origin has no flaws. Not only does it have no flaws, it is also very complete, and it can even be said to be abnormal. It is said that the expansion is slow, but in the time of just a stick of incense, that space has turned into 1,000,000 li in size. Moreover, the speed of expansion becomes faster as you get to the back. In the space, for every 100,000 li, a star will appear. Jian Wushuang's space origin has countless stars. Ordinary emperors, the space condensed when they join the Tao, can accommodate a few stars. It is not bad. An elite like tearing the sky, it can hold 100 stars when in general harmony. Going up is the Taoist monarchs who follow 10,000 ways, such as Jiyu Taoist and Wanqing Taoist. The strength of these people in Daojun is no less than the ultimate Daojun, and can generally accommodate tens of thousands of stars. But after arriving at the emperor, the speed of cultivation will become very slow. But in general, there is still some improvement. It's just that the speed is too slow. Firstly, there is no perfect method. Even in the temple of Qixin, Wandiolius' inheritance is very small. Also, the Lord of all things has a fairly complete inheritance. But that inheritance is not something that everyone can cultivate. It is still in the Tomb Mountain, and no one can take it away. Only some fur can be cultivated. Then there is the ultimate way. The ultimate Taoist, the space condensed when we join Tao. The weakest is 50,000. It is more against the sky. It can condense millions of stars to form a galaxy. Even Xinghai. Now the number of stars in Jian Wushuang's space has increased to 10,000. One day passed. The longest part of the harmony is not the condensed space, but the fusion behind it. This time Jian Wushuang joined the Tao, and he went there for 10,000 years, or even millions of years. End of this chapter. Chapter 56-35. His extreme way is unprecedented, and it takes a long time. 3 years passed in a blink of an eye. Tomb on the mountain. There are only 2 people who know that Jian Wushuang is in harmony. One is True Spirit, and the other is Huiqing. Knowing that Jian Wushuang was in harmony, Huiqing was more anxious than Zhenling. He didn't even have the mind to practice in the cave, but sat quietly on a mountain peak in the public area, swaying to look at the mountain and sea. Inheritor Huiqing, I want to challenge you. A tender voice came, attracting a lot of eyes. After all, this place is a public area. There are many inheritors. On the Tomb God Mountain, you can challenge at will. Of course, you can choose not to respond. Huiqing is the first inheritor, and has a high status in the Tomb Mountain. No one except the True Spirit can call Huiqing. A little guy dared to jump out to challenge Huiqing, which made many old inheritors sneer. The immature inheritor is the one who came with Jian Wushuang. Golden Shadow, Huiqing knew it. And beside Jiaying, there is a young girl. She is Ji Chaoyang's little niece. Huiqing's temper was surprisingly good, but it happened to be boring, so she took up the challenge. For a time, countless people were in an uproar. Even on the Tomb Mountain, the previous inheritors have also left the pass. Especially the most hostile backbone Luo, in the top 5 Jian Wushuang, didn't know the shock of the outside world. Condensing space, there is never a pause. Now he has contained thousands of stars in his condensed space. Call. It should be the limit. Jian Wushuang gasped. When Huiqing joined the Tao, there were 8 million stars. Because Huiqing didn't reach the realm of black holes at the beginning, but only mastered 80% of the black holes. A black hole represents thousands of stars. The origin of Jian Wushuang's space reached the limit of Daojun, and it was a whole black hole. It is no longer possible to condense a second black hole. This is the limit of his current space origin. However, this is not his own limit. He is not only the origin of space, but also the origin of extreme Tao, that is even more against the sky. The power of all things through the black hole hits instantly. Jian Wushuang's whole body was trembling. The space in the body expands again. This time has exceeded the scope of a big world. A star represents 100,000 miles. A black hole represents 10 million stars. In the space where Jian Wushuang condensed, 2 black holes rose instantly. In addition to the black holes at the origin of space, there are already 3 black holes. The 4th seat is also slowly staring. In just 1 hour he added 3 black holes. Jian Wushuang himself was taken aback. Space origin is expanding slowly. After all, the combat power of space origin is still too weak. It's just a simple step from the 5th order emperor to the 6th order. His real trump card is still Ji Dao. Can make him reach the ultimate perfection directly. The eternal changes, and the starry sky catalog. This is all with the power of the stars. Unfortunately, the power of the starry sky does not belong to everything. He couldn't condense too much. Otherwise he wouldn't dare to imagine how powerful his space would be. The 7th seat, Jian Wushuang roared, already feeling a trace of pressure. The 7th seat is formed. This time he spent a whole day. Subsequently, the birth of black holes is getting slower and slower. It is contrary to the origin of his space. With the experience of devouring the origin of the universe, Jian Wushuang didn't panic at all. He couldn't calculate the stars in the origin of the universe. But he knew the number of black holes. There are more than 10,000 seats. 10,000 black holes can form a cosmic force, and the Lord of the universe, at least 10 times stronger than the power of a universe, can control the original universe. Therefore, after becoming a tribulation realm, the three tribulations realm will generally master the universe and become the Lord of the universe. Of course, there are some who are against the sky, instead of refining the original universe, but creating a universe by themselves. Lift the space in one's body to the universe. This requires agglomeration of thousands of black holes. The power needed is simply massive. Jian Wushuang had never thought that he could condense such a powerful space when he was in harmony. Now let's do it step by step. Go for 1,000 black holes. If this is known to outsiders, I am afraid that he will be mocked for his ignorance. But Jian Wushuang himself knew that once he used some of the power of the stars, it is really possible for him to reach 1,000 seats, or even break through 1,000. Because the starry sky is too vast. It carries not only the universe, but also many long rivers of time and space. This time, it took him a full 100 years to exhaust the power of Jidao and condense 76 black holes. This is the pinnacle of the sixth-order emperor. And without any power, starry sky, Jian Wushuang's thought power was instantly mobilized. Eternal change. His breath also reached its peak state. The first change in eternity. The breath directly rose to the perfection. This time there was no muddle-headedness. The condensation of black holes is like stars. It broke through 100 in an instant. 200 seats. Jian Wushuang was ecstatic in his heart, and he was almost as expected, breaking through 1,000 seats. It should be more than rubbing. The space in the body also expands continuously. 600 seats. Jian Wushuang nodded in satisfaction. There are already 600 constellations. Although the power of the starry sky is low, the speed of condensing has not decreased, indicating that it has absorbed less. 800 seats. This time Jian Wushuang was a little uncomfortable, and his heart was beating wildly. Because the growth rate is not slow but faster. The time for just a stick of incense has broken through 1,000 seats. This exceeded his expectations. Impossible. Jian Wushuang's eyes rolled round. He himself couldn't believe it. Although the larger the space, the more condensed black holes, the stronger it will be. But he was still a little worried. Worried that I will die. 1003. Jian Wushuang's eyes shrank, and now he stopped praying. He doesn't know whether this state is good or bad. It's almost there. I didn't want to be so strong. 1008. Jian Wushuang is no longer under control, and the speed of space expansion is even faster. He can't see the end himself. I can't even guess how I will stop. 2000. Jian Wushuang was completely stupid. 2,000 black holes. This is already the space universe. Even beyond the universe. The level of the spatial realm is very clear. 1,000 black holes can almost reach the realm of the universe. 2,000 seats are now considered the peak, or even the limit. If it expands further, it will really become a universe. The universe is just a realm. Want to reach the outer space? Tens of thousands of black holes are needed, and within the black holes, a cosmic secret realm must be born. Fortunately, no secret realm has appeared. Jian Wushuang observed carefully. He was really afraid that he would directly open up a universe. Chapter 5636. When the time comes, how can he merge Tao? Although the ultimate way is complete, it is too small compared to a universe. Just like a thin bamboo pole to stir the vast ocean. I don't feel a bit. Wow. The black hole in the center began to rupture. Jian Wushuang held his breath. The next moment the black hole burst, and the power of all things inside instantly rushed out. A complete mystery was revealed in front of him. Jian Wushuang almost fainted. At this time, the space he condensed had exceeded 4,000 black holes, and still did not stop. He was almost desperate. It looks like it is really going to impact the universe. A Taoist condenses space to join Tao, and directly opens up a universe. What does this make those old monsters of the robbery realm think? If he really wanted to open up the universe, Jian Wushuang could be compared to the powerhouse of the three tribulations realm in one step. At that time, the condensed universe is very powerful, but it does not match your ultimate way. This is the failure of the reunion. In the future time and space, he failed in harmony, probably because of this. No. Jian Wushuang shook his head again. He needs to stabilize the Taoist heart. It needs to be calm. No matter what you face, you must be calm. Don't worry. Jian Wushuang had a perfect Tao heart. But in an instant, the tumbling emotions calmed down. This calmness reminded him of the catalogue of the starry sky. Yeah, Jian Wushuang was overjoyed in an instant, and cheered in his heart. I still have a starry sky catalogue. When you are in harmony, you only need to use the starry sky catalogue. The ultimate kendo will become the starry sky kendo, and it will be more powerful. Does the space match up? What a clever life. He should have thought of it long ago. Can use the first change in the past to condense space. He can use the starry sky catalogue to let the starry sky kendo merge into the space. At that time, he might really be able to master the power of the starry sky. From the very beginning, the power of thought, the power of the mind, the power of swallowing, the power of all things, and the power of life. Now it is the even more unpredictable power of the starry sky. It does not mean that the power of the starry sky is inherently stronger than the power of life. Only fit is not fit. Just like the power of swallowing. Although Jian Wushuang seldom uses it now, it doesn't mean that the power of swallowing is weaker than the power of all things. In fact, they are not much different. Today's Jian Wushuang is obviously more suitable for mastering the power of the starry sky. This kind of power did not evolve from Jidao. It is the power that Jidao stolen through the stars. It is not as simple as turning everything into life force. That's why Jian Wushuang didn't expect it for a while. Thanks to testify, Jian Wushuang muttered to himself. The condensed space also stopped at this moment. There are no signs. 5,000 black holes. In a cosmic mystery, this is a semi-finished universe. The consummation powerhouse among the absolute peaks is probably not as powerful as his space. Of course, the ultimate combat power is not only related to the origin, but also more important secrets. Now Jian Wushuang didn't have the mind to think about this, but set out to prepare for the fusion. A flower exuding endless time and space appeared. The other side flower. The origin contained in the starry sky catalogue still has time, and needs the blessing of this other shore flower. Go! Jian Wushuang threw the other side flower, and flew into the center of the space. The flower on the other side is the treasure in the long river of time and space, and it is of great help to the Lord of the universe. This time, he has spent a great price in harmony. Pour out all the treasures to fight for a perfect harmony. Leave no regrets. A total of 5,000 black holes, and a cosmic secret. This space is extremely stable. In the future, this is his origin. The more stable the better. This represents the bottom line. I am afraid that the strong man who has just entered the robbery realm is not as powerful as his space. This hasn't been completely in harmony. And then there is his ultimate way. Flowers. Jian Wushuang's voice was low. In the next moment, the Higan flower burst out with infinite light, overlooking the entire space. Click. Jian Wushuang's eyes condensed, and his eyes suddenly shrank. There are countless cracks in the space. This made Jian Wushuang unexpected. For a while my mind trembled suddenly. Gather. Fortunately, the Taoist consummation did not make him lose his mind. If there is a crack in the space, then perfect it. All of a sudden, countless treasures flew out and continuously entered his condensed space. But these treasures were instantly swallowed by those black holes when they first entered the space, and the cracks could not be repaired at all. What is this? Jian Wushuang couldn't believe it. According to the information he had obtained, it was normal for the space to appear cracks during the meeting, and only needed to be repaired. Why can't it be repaired? Jian Wushuang took out the prepared treasure again, and threw it into the space. And the black holes in the mobilization space are all closed. This time, all the treasures turned into a torrent, and the coefficient entered the crack. Just when Jian Wushuang thought it could be repaired, those cracks expanded again. After the flowers of the other shore bloomed, they disappeared completely, falling into countless cracks. At the core, 9 huge gaps burst. Jian Wushuang's breathing became quicker. Countless small cracks overlooked the entire space. It's over. Jian Wushuang was a little desperate. Cracks that cannot be repaired. The space is not complete, and it is too difficult to integrate the ultimate way. Ji Dao helps to evolve the space, and the ultimate Dao is merged into it. Even if he succeeds in harmony, the cracks that appear now cannot be repaired. That also means that his strength will continue to be lost. This is exactly the same as what will happen in the future. Repeat the same mistakes. No. Jian Wushuang's eyes burst, instantly raising his aura to the peak, because in the condensed space, his strength directly climbed to the level of the tribulation realm. He is not reconciled. How can such a powerful space be given up? Those cracks can't stop him. He will fight to the death, and forcibly integrate the ultimate way into it. Anxious. He was really anxious this time. He couldn't bear the consequences of the failure of Hadao. Even if Dao Xian is perfect, he is very anxious. Starry Sky Catalog, Jian Wushuang shouted angrily, and a divine sword made from its origin descended, with the power of the starry sky above it, directly piercing into the cracked space. With the burst of breath, Yu reading www.akanshu.com caused Jian Wushuang to suffer a violent backlash, vomiting blood, and his origin was trembling. The originally powerful 50,000 times divine body had already begun to break. Looking down at the crack on his body, Jian Wushuang's heart was cut like a knife. Fusion failed. The divine sword made by the ultimate source pierced into the space, and then burst. During a brief period of surprise, Jian Wushuang's mood slowed down a bit. That is, in such a moment, Jian Wushuang saw a scene of the past in a daze. There is a starry sky. There are also cracks in the endless starry sky. The savage encountered in the starry sky had cracks in his body. End of this chapter. Chapter 5637. No. Jian Wushuang shook his head, looked at the space suddenly and exclaimed, "This is not a crack." Among the 9 huge cracks and countless small cracks, there are still white cracks that are not big or small. That is the appearance of the long river of time and space. At this moment Jian Wushuang understood. He is a condensed space. This is a description of the starry sky. The sword that was just now was hit crookedly, and the space began to undergo tremendous changes at this time. The original 3-dimensional space has become a catalog. The space in the catalog has evolved into an endless starry sky. It's dark. There was pitch black in front of Jian Wushuang's eyes, and he could only see a small spot. Where was his original space? There are 5,000 black holes, and a cosmic secret realm inside. As for the crack, it is reflected in the starry sky. His condensed space illuminates the starry sky. Successful! Jian Wushuang shouted in disbelief. I made it! He clenched his fists with both hands and suddenly exploded. His strength instantly rose to an unprecedented level. That power made him full of confidence. The power of the starry sky is almost infinite. The power of life is 10,000 times stronger than before. Jian Wushuang at this time, the strength is almost endless, because he can mobilize the power of a starry sky. After the joy, Jian Wushuang began to look at the original space in his body, or it can be said to be the original starry sky. After entering, it is the space he personally condensed, which is considered a semi-finished universe. All around it was pitch black. There were only cracks, which he could clearly see. In other areas, he needs to continue to be strong to be able to light up. He can't even light up a universe now. I don't know when he will be able to light up a whole starry sky, or light up a small long river of time and space. Now he saw the long river of time and space, which was dark gold, containing the power of time and space, but there was no universe. His semi-finished universe is even more unremarkable. It's time to leave. Jian Wushuang's origin clone stayed in the origin star sky, while the deity returned to the flesh. Hadao was completely successful. From then on, he was the emperor. And his name has to be changed. He is no longer the invincible Daojun, but the invincible monarch. Now Jian Wushuang, how powerful he is, even he himself doesn't know. Call! With a suffocating breath, Jian Wushuang ushered in the long-lost ease. I can finally take a breath. Time has continued to urge him to be strong, and now he has finally reached the emperor. The most difficult combination has succeeded. Only the opportunity of the robbery is left. Now that he has just broken through the emperor, his original realm has soared directly to the realm of the universe. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to condense a semi-finished universe. Mahayana Space Universe. The pinnacle secret, the starry sky. It has also been perfected. All that is left is to complete the space and master the time. When he was in Daojun, although he did not get the recognition of the origin of time, he was able to mobilize a trace of the origin of time when he displayed the catalogue of the starry sky. I believe it will not take long before he will be recognized by the origin of time. But the prerequisite is that he wants the space to reach completion. The perfect space is actually the universe. An ordinary emperor with 3,600 black holes can form the universe. 1,000 black holes have already reached the realm of the universe. As for Jian Wushuang's space and universe, I am afraid that it needs tens of thousands of black holes, or even more. Now that I just broke through, I'm not in a hurry. Tribulation is not so easy. Combining the path and becoming the turning point of the robbery can be regarded as a watershed. The difficulty of the two is equal. But every opportunity that becomes a robbery is the same degree of difficulty. This is different from Hadao. Right now, there are still many areas to improve, so there is no need to be so anxious. His divine body, as well as the origin of space, all need to be improved. And the treasure of time and space he can observe more now. It used to be just able to observe some size chess pieces. Now I can finally observe the font size of the generals. Wow! Before Jian Wushuang's eyes, a magnificent chessboard suddenly appeared. There are many chess pieces in the upper part, but there are only 360 chess pieces in the general size. There are only 72 pieces of handsome size. There are only 9 chess pieces of god size. How strong and weak. The first true king at the time was nothing more than a general name. And the first true king can be a powerhouse in the 5 tribulations realm. The handsome chess pieces on the top are probably the weakest ones from the origin of the 6 tribulations realm. Where did these chess pieces come from? Jian Wushuang was a little curious. One pointed out, wanting to peek at the chess pieces of the general size. But a huge suction force allowed Jian Wushuang's breath to enter the chessboard. A vortex suddenly condensed over the chessboard. Jian Wushuang's breath also turned into a trace of origin, and he was finally fixed in the of the soldier. At this moment he completely understood. These chess pieces originally came from this way. But if this were the case, wouldn't the first owner suffer a lot? At that time, I am afraid that there are no chess pieces on the board. This is the super treasure that teacher Xianyi left to him. And he naturally devoted more thoughts and doubts. Now that he has become an emperor, he can only manipulate it in front of him. And he is constantly groping. It can be regarded as relaxation after Hadao, after constant exploration, especially after reading the chess record of the first true king. He finally figured out the manipulation technique of this treasure. Get up, Jian Wushuang pointed out, carefully controlling a pawn-sized chess piece. After the chess piece was difficult to place, the internal origin began to rush out, and then transformed into a shadow of the origin in a hat. And the breath on his body is at least the pinnacle. It was much stronger than the 9-clawed beast king back then. Master, see you with a respectful figure in Yi. Jian Wushuang nodded, quite satisfied. Next, he continued to revive those pawn-sized chess pieces. According to the introduction in the chess book of the first true king, if you have the power of the robbery, you can turn on the sized chess pieces. The first true king at the time was able to summon more than a dozen chess pieces when he was consummated. Among them, the most powerful chess piece is already comparable to the first true king, who was an emperor at the time. Enabling recovery is also very simple. Yu reading www.Akanshu. Calm is the power to manipulate the chessboard. Of course, there is another important point. And it is also very difficult for others. That is the power of life, but this pair of Jian Wushuang is the simplest. His current vitality is more than enough to illuminate the font size, but the power to manipulate the chessboard is still a bit too weak. Now he can't even manipulate the soldier's name, and can't do whatever he wants. It also needs constant temptation. Don't worry about this. Put it into the origin star sky. Let the clone slowly explore it. The deity is the beginning of the cultivation of the divine body. The sixth layer of the divine body. Start to improve on the basis of 50,000 times. The large amount of divine body treasures he had obtained earlier was completely used up at this moment. Chapter 5638 turned out to be a bit disappointing. The final freeze frame was about 60,000 times. That is, the countless treasures he has collected is only 60,000 times. Among the absolute tops, this can only be regarded as an introduction. Let alone the robbery. There is no divine body that is 80,000 times larger, and it is simply not enough to match the tribulation realm. In some universes that cultivate divine bodies, there are some extreme generations who directly abandon their roots to cultivate divine bodies. What I want is that pure and terrifying supernatural power. Jian Wushuang has also seen some divine body practitioners in the tribulation realm in some ancient books. Is a method obtained from other time and space. It has the most perfect divine body refining method, which can make the body rise very quickly, and the increase is also a lot. But it's hard to get it. Fortunately, Jian Wushuang has beast soldiers. Now his basic divine body is 60,000 times. Once he casts a full-body beast weapon, he himself can't imagine how powerful it will be. Last step. The second soul. Jian Wushuang looked at the origin contained in the corner, hooked it, and took advantage of the catalysis of Gyuta's heart. A pain of tearing consciousness made him grin. Lasted for almost an hour, and the second soul succeeded. A figure exactly like Jian Wushuang stood opposite him. I have seen the deity. I have seen the second soul. When Jian Wushuang leaked a smile, the other's face also leaked a smile. Because they are all one. Wow. Jian Wushuang took out a set of top eternal treasures and handed it to the second soul. Also took out a lot of basic treasures, handed them to the second soul, and then put the opponent into the original starry sky. The current second soul, although he is the emperor, but his strength is probably a little weak. Still need a lot of treasures to invest. But the second soul, long-term sitting in the tomb mountain, but can easily obtain a lot of treasures. Exit. Jian Wushuang directly stood up, the surrounding breath vibrated. Then returned to peace. Even the space couldn't sense Jian Wushuang, and Jian Wushuang had already left the cave. Mountain and sea. The waves are rough. A shadow of a figure appeared above. The true spirit was the first to find out and set off directly. After seeing Jian Wushuang's breath change, he suddenly leaked out of joy and said, Okay, very good. The success of Jian Wushuang Hadao has caused the entire foundation of the Temple of Qishan to rise a lot. How can we not make the true spirit happy? Master True Spirit. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. Hui Qing, who has been observing here, also discovered that his exit, turned into a streamer, arrived in an instant. But Bai Jinling was a little slow. Congratulations, Wushuang brother. Hui Qing hurried forward to congratulate. It took Jian Wushuang 100,000 years to join the Tao this time. The time is neither long nor short. Go back and say it. Zhenling waved his big hand, and an aura wrapped the two of them to the top of the Tomb God Mountain in an instant. The three of them sat in a circle. Jian Wushuang fooled around the experience of Hadao, and then began to ask the true spirit's plan. Now Jian Wushuang, there is no need to stay in the Temple of Qishan, only to go out. But the outside world, with the strength of extinction, a half-step 7 tribulation realm. Although it has been assimilated with the Temple of Destruction, but who knows if it can come out again. At the beginning, the opponent broke God and entered Mora time and space. Jian Wushuang would naturally not take this risk. Even if he was confident now, Zhenling would not let him out. So I can only go to other time and space. However, I originally planned to let Jian Wushuang go alone. But now Jian Wushuang proposed to bring a group of people to go together. This makes the real spirit very embarrassed. The current situation is not optimistic. It's a trivial matter that there is not enough manpower to deploy a group of super inheritors. After these people have achieved success, it will be a bigger matter not to come back. This matter, I still need to think about it again. Zhenling was a bit older for a while. Jian Wushuang saw this and couldn't say much, he could only nod his head. Hui Qing on the side, but hesitated. If so, he is ready to go to the long river of time and space. Seeing Hui Qing's appearance, Zhenling also understood. The three of them were speechless one after another. In the end, Jian Wushuang broke the deposit, changed the subject, and said, Master True Spirit, my second soul, is going to stay in the temple of Qishan and practice on Tomb God Mountain. I thought I can't press the treasures together, don't you think? Zhenling rolled his small eyes, wondering what he was thinking about. But he didn't care about Jian Wushuang's second soul. The heart demon thing, do you see? Jian Wushuang heard the demon in his heart, only to remember that the other party was still suppressed by him, waved his hand, and took out the heart demon directly. I was negligent. Jian Wushuang touched his head with some embarrassment. The heart demon should be very important to the true spirit. The original extinction took away 10,000 demons, blood demons and mountain monarchs. Presumably the mind demon is also very important to extinction. Goo! Let me out! The heart demon in the bottle yelled continuously after discovering the outside world. When he saw the true spirit, he couldn't help but shrank and didn't dare to yell again. Jian Wushuang unplugged the cork and released the demons. The heart demon stood on the spot, staring at the three of them cautiously. He found that he couldn't beat any of them. Especially the real spirit gave him the feeling like an ocean. Jian Wushuang is a black hole. Hui Qing is more like an ancient tree, with no waves on average. I agreed to your request and then? Jian Wushuang stared at the other party and said playfully, Demon is the evil thoughts that people breed, naturally smooth and extremely smooth. After hearing Jian Wushuang's words, he waved his hands and said with a smile, A few adults, the younger ones just feel a little bored, or I will go in again. Said that the inner demon wanted to get into the bottle again. But Jian Wushuang pinched his neck and pulled him over. Master True Spirit, this boy. It seems that I don't know the matter of extinction. Jian Wushuang said calmly. The heart demon was in his hands, and he didn't dare to move at all. After True Spirit heard his words, Yu read the book www. Akanshu, calm for a moment, then looked at the heart demon coldly said, You don't know extinction, you should always know the wind demon. Where is he? I know where the wind demon is. The heart demon replied honestly. He was with the demon king, and he was suppressed to the primitive universe. Jian Wushuang saw that the other party cooperated before letting go. Who? The heart demon crawls on the ground. The atmosphere does not dare to take a breath. Knowing that Feng Yimo was down, Zhenling shook his head. In the outside world, there is no way. But it can overwhelm the demons. Then Shanjun can no longer become a perfect body. The three true kings. Demon Lord, Ancient Lord, Mountain Lord. The Demon Lord was suppressed in the primitive universe. And the Ancient Lord couldn't get out of purgatory for a while. The only variable is Shanjun. This is also the reason why the true spirit targets the Mountain King everywhere. Knowing this, Jian Wushuang was also speechless. I wanted to pull Shanjun a hand. It seems that there is no chance now. Chapter 5639. Don't know if there is any chance in the future. Is really going to meet, he will also repay. After all, he was kind to him. Can't forget. Hui Qing is in the mist while listening. Fortunately, Hui Qing has a simple personality and didn't think much about it. Okay, you just succeeded in joining the road. Take a good rest, and let Hui Qing take you to some places in Tumshan Mountain. After a while, I still need your help. As for the passage to other time and space, it will be fundamental for a while. Can't build it, the layout needed. Jian Wushuang and Hui Qing got up at the same time to retire, and then left together. Said it was fun, but in fact it was just to practice. Tomb Shenshan has many dojos. The dojos of the three major gods are all here. And the dojo of the gods is just the dojo of the gods, still in a closed state. The dojo of the three great gods is actually opened. But you need to reach the 55th floor before you can practice. Brother Wushuang, I will take you to the public area first. You need a token to be able to practice in the Tomb Mountain. Huiqing explained. Actually, it is similar to the Yuan Lao Palace. Best, but too harsh for most of the inheritors. So many people went to the Senate Palace. Jian Wushuang nodded, agreeing with Huiqing's words. Tomb Shinshan was created. I am afraid it is to leave a batch of the most peak inheritors. As for the mediocre, it is regarded as elite and slowly cultivated. The two figures have arrived at the foot of the Tomb Mountain, Thunder Island. An island on a mountain. Sounds fantastic, but it is a fact. Because there is still a part of the Tomb Mountain, which is condensed by seawater. There is an island in the sea, which is normal. The island is also very lively. 100,000 years have passed. And I don't know how many more inheritors have come here. It's just getting less every time. The first generation of inheritors. I am afraid that there will be no new blood after a long time. But the second generation inheritors have grown up in the outside world. And some with good aptitudes have been brought into the Temple of Qishan. But after coming in, I came directly to the Tomb Sacred Mountain. There was no screening or any training. You only need to practice on the Tomb Sacred Mountain for 10,000 years. Those who have the strength can continue to stay, and those who are not strong enough are sent out. But this second generation inheritor, the threshold for entering the Temple of Qishan is very high. First of all, absolute loyalty is required, and the oath of origin is taken. Then there is potential. The ultimate way, of course, there is no need to say more. But after all, the number of ultimate Dao is very small, and most of them are the second-rank original Dao, and some Dao monarchs of the mutated origin. Only by cultivating these people continuously can we screen out enough seedlings for the future tribulation realm. Go here. Huiqing led the way. On the way, many people stared at Huiqing, and many people even whispered, "He is Haiqing." Yes, the contemporary Tomb Mountain, the first inheritor, has reached the 60th floor. His strength is terrifying, and he is also the first inheritor. A white-robed boy with fairly good strength, with a look of admiration, added, "He is also the pride of our primitive universe, and he is also the number one power in the world of the Buddha." These words suddenly made many of the powerhouses of the primordial universe look even brighter. There are only a few inheritors from the world of Tongtian Buddhism. There are only a few in total, but only the white-robed young man is here. Also only entered the Tomb Mountain in the last 10,000 years. Most of these inheritors are Taoists, and only a few are emperors. Some practitioners did not show up when they were a Taoist monarch, but after becoming an emperor, they shine brightly. So that the Tomb Mountain also recruited many emperor inheritors. Huiqing didn't pay much attention to these eyes and those words. Jian Wushuang joked on the side. "Huiqing, I didn't expect you to be so famous." Brother Wushuang was joking. "It's just a fake name. Senior Shang broke through a few days ago, and is now on the 60th floor." Huiqing said back. Shang's breakthrough made Jian Wushuang's expression move. Is a candidate. If the true spirit agreed to him, he could take Shang into consideration. I'm afraid that even if he doesn't think about it, if he really wants to agree, Zhenling will arrange for the business to go with him. Shang is their first ultimate emperor in this long river of time and space, and is also the first inheritor of the Tomb Mountain for the longest time. After being briefly surpassed by Huiqing, broke through again, and now reached the 60th floor. I'm afraid it's almost a disaster. Huiqing may still need some time, but the background of Shang is much deeper than that of them. After all, before they were born, Shang was already a fifth-order emperor, came to the Tomb Sacred Mountain, and in a short time, he became a sixth-order emperor, and he directly and seamlessly entered to the top, and then he was fighting the half-step tribulation realm Fuego. No matter what the calculation is, the opponent will be the inheritor, who breaks through the disaster realm the fastest. In addition to Shang, Jian Wushuang is very interested in the more famous ultimate emperors on the Tomb Mountain, especially the Light and Shadow Emperor, who was in the same batch with them, is now in the Tomb Sacred Mountain, and it is also in the top 5. There are also the Tongtian Buddha and Zhenliang. These people have a good background. The potential is not small, especially Zhenliang and Tongtian Buddha. The source of the two is not the ultimate, but it is the source of variation. Can be in the same rank, not weak to the ultimate emperor. Is even bigger than that. Today's Tomb Mountain, but there are hundreds of ultimate emperors. Zhen Wuyang and Tongtian Buddha can rank in the top 10, but they are not beyond most of the ultimate emperors. Is also the ultimate emperor. Some of them are more alternative, such as monsters like Huiqing or Shang. An old monster who has practiced endless years, has a terrifying background. It is the two of Guangying and the backbone. It is not easy to enter the top 10 among a crowd of monsters. Thinking of this, within a short while, the two of them arrived outside a hall for 100 years. Desolate ancient palace. Jian Wushuang looked up and read the words on the plaque silently. This deserted ancient. He didn't know whether it represented the deserted ancient of Morwa time and space, or because of the deserted master. Brother Wushuang, this deserted ancient temple is the Pepsi Hall on the Tomb God Mountain. The inheritor accepts the task, or the new inheritor must come here first. Huiqing pointed to the hall and explained to Jian Wushuang. At this time, there happened to be a guardian and an envoy from the Vermilion Bird Hall, who entered the hall. Seeing this, Jian Wushuang and two of them also walked in with them. These inheritors are numerous, exceeding 100,000. There are many emperors among them. Jian Wushuang knew that this should have been searched from the outside world. Just came to study for a period of time. I guess I won't stay for too long. Inheritors of this scale. I'm afraid it will take hundreds of millions of years for such a batch to come. The long line of 100,000 people is not crowded at all in the hall. Chapter 5640. Mingming Hall is so big, but it seems to be able to accommodate countless people. The spatial structure in this one may only be discovered when it reaches the cosmic realm. And in the temple at this time, only Jian Wushuang and Huiqing had this strength. As for the guardian, he cannot be regarded as a person. The two walked directly to the front counter, ignoring the new inheritors. My lord, are they the inheritors of this place? Many people in the team were very curious. Perhaps they had listened to the legend of the Temple of God from the time they were born. And of course they were very curious when they came in for the first time. Among these people, there are also several people who have passed on from generation to generation. They came from the outside world, and now they are returning, but there is nothing unusual about them. When I saw Huiqing, there was respect in his eyes besides envy. Hearing those little guys inquiring, he quickly interrupted. Don't be rude, this place is the Tomb Mountain. They are your uncle, let alone that existence. But the first inheritor of the contemporary Tomb Mountain. The first inheritor? It's too strong. Is the great Emperor Wanqing? Someone asked curiously. The words have made the first-generation inheritor leak a wry smile. Wanqing the Great is also the 10,000-star emperor, and now he has a supreme existence. To command a universe, power and strength are the peaks. Many of these little guys are from the 10,000-star universe, and naturally they highly respect the strength of 10,000 stars, and think that the great Emperor Wanqing is the strongest existence in the Tomb Sacred Mountain. This, you have to ask Wanqing yourself. After getting the token, Jian Wushuang glanced at some of the tasks above. Most of them are the long-term tasks of the outside world. There are few missions in the 4 secret realms, and some are also auxiliary missions. There is no danger at all. These tasks are open to the inheritors. Those little guys from the outside world don't need to accept them. They only need to honestly practice in the Tomb Mountain for thousands of years. Where are you going now? Jian Wushuang asked. Huiqing pointed to a copper furnace outside. Ordinary inheritors, now they need to temper their bodies. Brother Wushuang doesn't need to go, just go climbing. Temper the flesh. Jian Wushuang really didn't have this need. His physical body was extremely powerful, and he was refined to the 10th chain in Shanjin's universe copper furnace. Has reached perfection. As for climbing the mountain mentioned by Yu Huiqing, Jian Wushuang understands. This is something that all inheritors must do. The height to climb is also the standard for resource allocation in the future. Now Jian Wushuang's strength, I dare not say much, the 60th floor is easy. I just don't know, I can reach the 60 or so floors. According to the division, the Lord of the Universe can reach the 70th floor, is the level of the powerhouse of the three tribulations realm, and still masters the three tribulations realm of the universe. The 80 floor is the fifth order realm. 90 floor is the sixth tribulations realm. On the 99 floor, he reached the strength comparable to the seven tribulations realm. If you surpass the 99 floor and all break through, you will be a real powerhouse in the seven tribulations realm. At the beginning, this tomb mountain was established. I am afraid it is to find a successor who can reach the powerhouse of the seven tribulations realm. Seven tribulation realm powerhouse. No matter what time and space they are in, they are absolute hegemons. The of the original is even more comparable to the powerhouse of the eight tribulations realm. That kind of strength is even more terrifying. No wonder, even the extinction is honest and dare not do anything. After breaking the gods, the strength of extinction was frozen in the half-step seven tribulation realm. But it was too arrogant. Maybe it's because of calculations, otherwise there is nothing wrong with the gods. Before the rise of the gods, killing the gods, wouldn't it be better to control the original more time and space? Or is it because of the calculation to the present? I feel that more time and space can't come out to master the power of life? Is possible. Everything is possible. Jian Wushuang stood at the bottom of the mountain, looking up at the top. Hui Qing also stood aside and said, "This mountain climbing is not dangerous, and there is no opponent. You just need to release your breath and walk forward." However, after reaching the 55th floor, if you want to open up a cave, you will encounter guardian beasts. The strength is a bit strong. Desolate beast. Jian Wushuang's eyes turned, so that Hui Qing could say something strong, which should be interesting. Opening up the cave and encountering the guardian of the desolate beast. If you reach the 80th floor, when opening up the cave, wouldn't it mean that you will encounter the desolate beast of the robbery? But the current temple of Qishan, apart from purgatory, there is no catastrophe. Zhuangzhong was also thrown into the long river of time and space by the real spirit. Could it be said that a lot of robbery beasts have been suppressed here? If so, he could make a fortune this time. The whole body of the wild beast is precious. Flesh and flesh can refine essence and blood to replenish the origin of his beasts. The skeleton can increase his divine body, and it is a great tonic. And the origin of the beast, although barbarous, the rules above are somewhat interesting, is also a treasure. But he is now the emperor, and ordinary beasts can't get stuck. At least he needs to have the desolate beast with the power of the robbery realm, before he can appreciate it. Let's start on the 60th floor. I will come as soon as I go, it should be soon. Then he walked directly up the stairs of the tomb mountain. Hui Qing is left alone, looking forward to it. At this time there are also many people on the stairs. Many people are even opening up caves. Although there are no desert beasts in the opening of the cave below the 55th floor, the structure of the tomb mountain is unusually tough, and the overall quality exceeds the eternal treasure. It's not that simple to open a cave. Even if the quality of Yamashita is not good, it will take years to develop. Many inheritors are below the 55th floor. There are very few people above 50 floors. In the Emperor, to reach the 55th floor, you need absolute strength. But the absolute weakness of the weakness is not enough. Even if it is Wuxia, I am afraid it can only reach the point where it is in the early 50s. After all, there are many ultimate emperors, and they are not the absolute pinnacle of mutation origin. Thinking of this, you reading www.akanshu. Calm Jian Wushuang is a little puzzled. How did Qishan accept such an apprentice Wuxia in the first place? Even if it is a named disciple, it is too sloppy. The strength can be seen in ordinary extreme peaks, but in Tomb Sacred Mountain, it is average. Besides, I have been practicing for such a long time without any improvement. Throwing away these distracting thoughts, Jian Wushuang took a step forward. His aura reached the 50th floor without even reaching the normal state. In just a few breaths, Jian Wushuang directly reached the 50th floor. You must know that there are only dozens of people who have reached the 55th floor of the inheritors on the tomb mountain. After all, the time for practice is very short. can reach the 55th floor. That is not the strong one among the best. Jian Wushuang boarded in just one step. Except for Hui Qing, countless people at the bottom looked at Jian Wushuang with disbelief. Who is he and how can he be so strong? The absolute powerhouse who opened up the cave on the 55th floor. After feeling the familiar aura at this time, he broke the barrier in an instant. When I saw Jian Wushuang, there was no surprise. Chapter 5641. You can be regarded as a good way. The speaker is Zhen Wuyang. But this is just a Dharma body of Zhen Wuyang. The deity should be in the long river of time and space outside. After Jian Wushuang saw his acquaintance, he nodded slightly, did not say much, and planned to open the cave directly. There are more than a dozen cave houses on the 50th floor at this time. Of course, some cave houses have been deserted. Some of the strong people who reached the 55th floor have already broken through and reached a higher position. Found that Jian Wushuang opened a cave on the 50th floor. Hui Qing below was a little surprised. With his eyes, he can see Jian Wushuang's strength, and he is by no means weaker. Can reach at least the 60th floor. There is no need to waste time on the 50th floor. But then he understood. A desolate beast with perfect consummation rushed out of the Tomb God Mountain in an instant. Seems to have been suppressed for countless years. It just appeared. The aura on the body suddenly skyrocketed. An unmatched power appeared. And the shocking power made many of the inheritors below look pale. The strength of this barren beast can definitely rank in the top 10 in the Tomb Mountain. Zhen Wuyang's expression was trembling when he felt the breath. And he couldn't help but remind it. Be careful, this barren beast is not simple. It is very likely that it has broken through its strength when suppressed. When he first opened up the cave on the 55th floor, he didn't encounter such a powerful beast. The strength of this barren beast is even stronger than his deity. Can only say that Jian Wushuang's luck is a bit bad. He thought that Jian Wushuang opened up the cave on the 55th floor, and his strength only reached the 55th floor. But he knew what Jian Wushuang really thought. Now Jian Wushuang not only yearns for treasures, but also improves himself. Is more eager to fight life and death. What a pity. Everyone on Tomb God Mountain can fight. If Zhuang Zhong is the strong man in the robbery realm, he can try his own strength. Facing this desolate beast, Jian Wushuang didn't even pull out the Jueyan sword behind him. He flashed to the desolate beast's side instantly. There was no change in the aura on his body, just a hand knife, directly piercing the desolate beast's body. The power brought by this hand knife exploded from the inside, directly exploding the entire body of the desolate beast. Jian Wushuang was also taken aback by his own sword. The strength had just broken through, and he couldn't grasp it for a while. But the opponent burst out with one blow. Fortunately, he has the power to swallow, and with one hand, he condenses the burst of flesh and blood into a ball. 10,000 battle-sized wild beasts turned into a drop of blood in a blink of an eye. Jian Wushuang took advantage of the trend and included him in the Beast Warrior. The origin within the Beast Warrior is once again stronger. Although today's beasts have reached the perfect body, the internal origin is still a bit weak, and it has not reached the origin of the universe. Therefore, it is necessary to continuously devour the blood beasts to improve. This. Zhen Wuyang stared at Jian Wushuang in disbelief. The fight just now was too fast. Even Zhen Wuyang didn't see any changes in Jian Wushuang, and the wild beast completely fell. That was an ancient barren beast that was a bit stronger than his deity, so it was solved. That Jian Wushuang's strength, how terrifying! Jian Wushuang saw the stunned Zhen Wuyang. He leaked a smile, raised his hand slightly and said, "See you soon." After finishing speaking, a flash of body has reached the 51st floor. Then the cave was opened up layer by layer, and the beasts that had been beheaded also vaguely entered his beast weapon. 60 floors. So far, the highest level among all the inheritors on the Tomb God Mountain. This news instantly detonated all the inheritors on the Tomb God Mountain to come and watch. The merchants who couldn't even get out of retreat also walked out of the cave. When they saw Jian Wushuang, they didn't speak. The two just nodded to each other. On the 54th floor, A strong man covered in white bones also walked out of the cave, raised his head and stared at Jian Wushuang above, with a trace of unwillingness in his eyes. He is the top 3 super powerhouse in the Tomb Mountain. The space has reached the cosmic realm, and he has created a unique pinnacle of knowledge. Is the ultimate emperor of the bones. Before Huiqing joined the road, only Shang could crush him. But he doesn't care, because Shang Ben is the Tomb Mountain where the ultimate emperor comes, and he has been practicing for a lot longer than him. He is confident that he will surpass Shang in the future. But later Huiqing succeeded in joining together, and instantly caught up with him. After returning from the human world, he directly became an absolute powerhouse, surpassing Shang in one era. This made him feel the unprecedented pressure, so that the disputes in the outside world are ignored, and he is practicing with all his heart. The universe named after him in his hometown was breached by the Temple of Destruction, but he still couldn't get out of the barrier. Now someone has surpassed him again, and his heart is shaking. Is Jian Wushuang, the invincible Taoist once. Just as he joined the road, he was going to get the name of an invincible emperor. The Light and Shadow Emperor, who is ranked 4th, looks like a shadow in a dark area, and also raises his head to stare at Jian Wushuang. It's just that his Dao Xian hasn't changed in any way. Because of his heart, he always believes that light and shadow will obscure time and space, and that he will be the real superpower in the future. In addition to these top-level super inheritors, there are also many ordinary inheritors who have just arrived at the Tomb Mountain. Their eyes are full of envy and yearning. Reached the 60th floor of the Tomb Mountain, has the strength to cross the entire time and space. The number 1 powerhouse in the outside world is the Azure Dragon Palace Master. The strength is only 60 levels. Of course, if you really talk about combat power, I am afraid that Zhuangzhong is the real number 1. After all, is a strong robbery realm. It's just that Zhuangzhong didn't show up, but kept sitting in a dangerous place. Shocked the Temple of Destruction. This is more useful than conquest. If it is a conquest, it can destroy the Temple of Destruction. These inheritors have already left. If you really want to take action in the Tribulation realm, I am afraid that extinction will also take action. In other words, there are other means of extinction, which can create battle power in the Tribulation realm. You reading www.akanshu.com. After all, the power of that holy water is too terrifying. 60 layers of combat power. The entire long river of time and space can reach this standard, except for those outside the territory. No more than 5 people. Broly is not Azure Dragon's opponent. He shouldn't reach this level yet. Now there are 3 people on the Tomb God Mountain plus himself. Jiang Shang from the outside world also has this strength, even surpassing the 60th floor. Plus the Green Dragon Palace Lord. Exactly 5 people. This kind of powerful combat power, even if it goes to some powerful time and space, it is also a top powerhouse. In the original Mora time and space, although there were a large group of Tribulation realms, and even many lords of the universe, but fights rarely occur, and most of them are dominated by emperors. Like Jian Wushuang's strength at the beginning, how could he be a general? And it was still very advanced. Because of the strength of the Magic Sound General and others, there are strong and weak. 60 floors really extraordinary. Jian Wushuang muttered to himself. At this moment he felt a sense of exhaustion. Chapter 56-42. That is the force of the rules of Tomb Mountain, suppressing him. Now he wanted to see how powerful the desolate beasts at this level were. The origin of the beasts is almost the same. The distance to reach the origin level of the universe is only a desolate beast with the power of a catastrophe. Just on the 59th floor, the barren beast he encountered had an attack comparable to the Tribulation realm. But this is not enough. It's just comparable to the attack. The key is that the strongest move is comparable to the robbery realm. If it is really a robbery desolate beast, any random move is the strongest blow of the desolate beast just now. In terms of strength, there is a huge difference. Pinnacle, the corners of his mouth raised when he was really inspired by this scene. A trace of thought power, manipulating the Tomb Mountain, awakened a real catastrophe beast. It was a good sale to Jian Wushuang, and he also asked Jian Wushuang. It's a good thing. Jian Wushuang's eyes turned, and he also found a breath quietly appearing. This time, before he went to open the cave mansion, a wild beast appeared, probably because of the real spirit. An inconspicuous stone is cracking on the 60th floor of Tumshan Mountain. The size of the stone is only a few steps long and wide. It's not a big deal. But at the next moment, the stone cracked and an orc with long head and feet rushed out. Sure enough, it was almost the same as Jian Wushuang thought. The desolate beast in front of him is no longer a desolate beast, but a murderer. Frozen demon race. Jian Wushuang stared at the opponent's appearance, thinking of a monster he had seen in Morwa time and space. That is the time and space of Morwa, the overlord group of the ancient times. Although it is the overlord, but the number is very rare, even less than the special life. No more than 10,000 heads in total. But birth is the earth immortal, adult is the emperor. Without any constraints, it is easier to break through. He has seen portraits of each other in books. You are freezing the demon race. The little murderer, a little surprised Jian Wushuang could recognize him, asked in surprise. Jian Wushuang said indifferently, I knew it by chance. It belongs to that era now. Why can't I feel the movement of the long river of time and space? The small murderer with the sharp horns of the elder raised his head and looked at the void sky, somewhat puzzled. Jian Wushuang didn't bother to explain, but replied casually, Beat me you will know. Ha ha ha. Your breath is too weak, isn't it too easy to defeat you? Try it. Jian Wushuang did it directly. He arrived behind the opponent in an instant, and the speed was so fast that he didn't even see the business close to him very clearly. Only Hui Qing, who returned to the 60th floor, saw the moment Jian Wushuang flashed. Speed has merged with time. Jian Wushuang's speed surpassed the emperor too much. Others can't see it, and it's normal. Those inheritors above the 55th floor could still see Jian Wushuang's methods at first, but at this time, they discovered that their consciousness could not keep up with Jian Wushuang's changes. Jian Wushuang, who came to the back of the fierce beast, struck out a punch, but he didn't expect that the other party didn't even turn around, and then caught his punch with his back. This surprised Jian Wushuang very much. With this strength, I am afraid I will be able to know the truth soon. The little fierce beast suddenly turned his head, opened his brown lips, and instantly blurted out a violent force, directly facing Jian Wushuang. Because of being caught, Jian Wushuang couldn't hide at all, so he could only resist this move. Boom! An attack directly burst the mountain that was comparable to the eternal treasure. Jian Wushuang, the nearest one, disappeared in the billowing smoke. A cold sweat appeared on Hui Qing's forehead, and the next moment he felt a familiar breath, just above the sky. Looking up, it was Jian Wushuang. A dark red armor, covering the whole body. Above the battle armor, there is still a trace of power that has just been destroyed. Click. Jian Wushuang leaked his appearance, stared at the murderer below and asked, You are in a few catastrophes. It can be resisted. The little murderer was very surprised. After seeing the treasure on Jian Wushuang, his eyes shrank and he was shocked. Beast God Soldier. Do you know each other? This time it was Jian Wushuang's turn to be surprised. The other party knew the Beast God Soldier. I am afraid that he had some reputation in Morwa time and space. Although the frozen demon race did not come back later, it was also a super race. The little murderer gritted his teeth and stared at Jian Wushuang viciously and said, It's hard not to know this seat. At the beginning, someone used the beast god weapon to attack my frozen demon race and kill my people. It's true to look at the other person, and hatred is not small. My ancient temple, I will avenge the race today. With a roar, countless rubbles all around burst open. On the 60th floor, the other two people, Shang and Hui Qing, were shocked by this roar. Tribulation. At this time, both Hui Qing and Shang, or the other ultimate emperors below, could feel the oppression from the ancient temple. Only Tribulation Realm will have this sense of oppression. 60th floor, how can there be a catastrophe? Everyone felt incredible. Jian Wushuang was eager to try. Unexpectedly, he encountered the tribulation realm ahead of time. It seems that there is no need to fight at this level. Otherwise, these 60 floors would not be able to stay. With a move in his heart, he transmitted the true spirit and asked the other party to teleport him to the 65th floor. Are you sure the power of the rules there will suppress you very much? Zhenling asked uncertainly. Jian Wushuang was very persistent. Now only he himself knows his own strength. The power of the 65th layer of rules could not suppress him. On the contrary, it will let him go as he pleases. Ha! Ha! Although Zhenling was a little puzzled, he still did it. He also did the same, wanting to see how powerful Jian Wushuang was after he joined forces. The 65th floor is desolate. The space here is more solidified. The gravity is 10,000 times higher than the outside world. And the force of rules is even more terrifying. If Jian Wushuang wanted to tear the space here, it might not be easy. When you look down, you can clearly see the people below. What's the matter? The ancient temple was a little puzzled. How could it be moved here suddenly? And he felt that the pressure here was great. There have been some subtle effects on him. Human, is you doing it? The ancient temple asked. Jian Wushuang did not refute but nodded indifferently. I said, as long as you defeat me, you can know everything. Now you don't need to ask too much. As long as you understand. If you don't defeat me, you will die. Jian Wushuang yelled, and the breath on his body began to boil. The strength that burst out in an instant caused the short ancient temple to resist with his arms. Jian Wushuang was surrounded by a dark red arc. This is his strongest strength under normal circumstances. If it weren't for the power of the stars, his state at this time would probably be the strongest state. You actually hide your strength. The ancient temple was a little disdainful. Even after feeling Jian Wushuang exploded with strength comparable to him, he still remained unmoved. Chapter 56-43. Very calm. Jian Wushuang was not surprised at this, because he knew the secrets of the frozen demon race's talents. The natural change Dao strong. After becoming a robbery, you can transform your body. The strength of the ancient temple is not weak. It is not an ordinary one tribulation realm. And it may even be a strong one in the two tribulation realm. It can transform itself and burst out stronger strength. Stop talking nonsense, let's do it. Jian Wushuang rushed out directly, and the two came to a stairway among the rocks, facing each other far away. Just a moment, an instant shot. This time, the ancient temple took the first shot, and a pair of sharp claws instantly appeared in front of Jian Wushuang's eyes. It's a pity that Jian Wushuang has already exploded this time, and his strength is not what it used to be. He saw the opponent's moves and directly grabbed the wrist of the ancient temple. Jian Wushuang's hands were like a chain, tightly binding the wrist of the ancient temple, especially the left arm that blends into the claw of the beast god. A dark red light burst out. 60,000 times the divine body burst out with endless mighty power in an instant. The two were in a stalemate like this. The ancient temple clenched their teeth, the threaded foreheads. There was already a trace of sweat, and the eyes in the eyeholes burst out with countless bloodshot eyes. The two of them are competing for supernatural power. The people below can see clearly, because this time there is no quick battle, but a stalemate. Although Jian Wushuang clung to the opponent's wrist, he could feel the strength of the opponent. To outsiders, the ancient temple is now passive. But only Jian Wushuang knew that his current power was not enough. If you don't break out, I'm afraid the opponent will break free. Beast God! Jian Wushuang shouted angrily, and the dark red aura on his body soared instantly. In the next moment, the power of the beast broke out completely. The realm of the beast god is wide open. The power of Jian Wushuang's divine body turned into the power of beast gods. Click. After Jian Wushuang broke out, he easily smashed the ancient temple's methods, freed his left hand, and hit the opponent's chest with a punch. Cracks appeared directly on the soft armor of the ancient temple. A mouthful of brown blood spurted from the mouth of the ancient temple. Fortunately, Jian Wushuang dodged in time without splashing himself. In the domain, Jian Wushuang was extremely fast. After a punch to the ancient temple, he He immediately went around behind the opponent's stretched body, raised his leg and kicked it hard. Under the double explosive force, the ancient temple was slightly injured, and the battle armor was completely cracked. In the meantime, Jian Wushuang did not forget to ridicule. "If you want to vomit blood all over me, I have to vomit faster." After speaking, he clenched his hands into a punch and slammed it on the head of the ancient temple. Boom! The ancient temple that was smashed to the ground from a high altitude struggled to get up. This time Jian Wushuang didn't make another move, and it was meaningless to solve the opponent too quickly. He can feel that the strength of the ancient temple is much more than that. At this time, the beast god realm he opened was also considered to be the power of the beast god, capable of increasing his divine body to about 80,000 times. It was already at the level of the robbery realm, and coupled with the power of the beast god, could he beat the opponent with divine power. These powers can be regarded as the top of the one tribulation realm, but not the peak. If this little strength can't hold it, then the other party will disappoint him too much. The ancient temple stood up from a miniature stone pit, and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Staring at Jian Wushuang's dark red eyes, there was no trace of fear, but full of fighting spirit. "You actually have 80,000 divine bodies, which is really good." The ancient temple tore off the rotten soft armor on his body, and leaked out his chest with obvious lines. "It's just that the limbs are very slender, and I can't see how strong it is." Jian Wushuang frowned when he saw the soft armor being ripped off at will. Although he recognized his strength very much, he was not arrogant enough to destroy the ultimate eternal treasure. The opponent's strength is so strong, and it is the frozen demon race. Even if there is no universe treasure, how can he have a set of the best eternal treasure? Now he can buy the ultimate eternal treasure at will. What's more, the opponent is in the tribulation realm. How could the treasures on his body be so ordinary? He broke it with a few tricks. "Why? Do you think the treasures on my body are terrible?" The ancient temple moved his wrists. The broken bones had long been restored, and then said, "Because my divine body exceeds 100,000, so I don't need any defensive treasures." As soon as the voice fell, a force that shook the world suddenly exploded. Jian Wushuang's eyes were hot, and he felt that the other party was not that simple. The divine body of the ancient temple exploded again, and it really reached 100,000 times. The burst of power made his speed surprisingly fast. Jian Wushuang didn't even see the shadow of the opponent, and he was thrown over by the opponent's foot. Just when he was about to get up, the ancient temple used force again, and stepped on Jian Wushuang's younger generation to collapse. Had it not been for the beasts, I am afraid that this foot could penetrate his divine body. Boom! This was not over yet. The ancient temple did not give Jian Wushuang any chance, clenched a fist with one hand, and blasted Jian Wushuang's head with a fist. Breaking the ground directly, Jian Wushuang's entire body was embedded in the ground. The ancient super powerhouse is really extraordinary. And he is also a super strong man who takes the line of the body. That power made Jian Wushuang feel desperate. The power of the beast god, Jian Wushuang forcibly endured the cracking of the divine body, and forcibly broke out the power of the beast god. This time he unlocked twice the power of the beast god. The divine body has also increased by 100,000 times, which is the same as that of the ancient temple. One turned over and rushed up instantly. The ancient temple raised its brows and said in surprise, "You recovered so quickly." The other party didn't know that Jian Wushuang possessed strong vitality. Even if Jian Wushuang didn't use twice the power of the beast god, the opponent couldn't kill him. This is the benefit of the source. The background is too strong. Although both of them are now using pure divine power, the origin is also indispensable. Jian Wushuang, who stood up, quickly entered a state of life and death duel. Fighting with the ancient temple is inextricably difficult. With twice the power of the beast god, Jian Wushuang can still bear it now. As for the beasts, there is no problem. Although the origin within the beast god soldier has not yet reached the level of the universe, it can maintain Jian Wushuang's 3 times the power of the beast god. With only 3 times the power of the beast god, Jian Wushuang would be a little strenuous. The strongest is twice the power of the beast god, increasing the divine body to 100,000 times. That is to say, on the basis, a full 40,000 times the divine body has been added. The power of the beast is the power that bursts out after the candle dragon, the beast soldier, recovers to full body. Jian Wushuang is called the power of the beast god. When he was not a perfect body, he could only explode the beast god realm and the amplified god body. As for the power of the beast god, it was very weak and did not match his own god body. Jian Wushuang didn't care about it at the beginning, but after becoming a complete body, Jian Wushuang discovered that the power of this beast was much stronger than the bursting power of his own basic body. The power of Jian Wushuang's 100,000 times divine body and transformed beast is capable of exploding beyond its own power. Chapter 56-44. So that Jian Wushuang became stronger in Vietnam, and the divine body showed no signs of decline. Although the power of life and the power of all things can supplement oneself, but the injury of the divine body is difficult to recover. Even if Jian Wushuang is injured, it will cause the divine body to decline. But this time, although he suffered some injuries, the divine body became stronger as he fought. This is the resilience of the power of the beast god. Boom! A punch directly hit the front door of the ancient temple. How is this possible? The ancient temple couldn't believe it. After he was injured, the divine body had begun to decline, but Jian Wushuang's divine body was stronger in Vietnam and was able to suppress him. Jian Wushuang was full of fighting spirit, without any intention to stop, constantly beating the ancient temple. If you really want to kill the opponent, he can use kendo directly, but it's not necessary, just play. Since the opponent's divine body is very strong, he uses it to defeat the opponent. Wow! With a kick, kicking the ancient temple into the rock pile, Jian Wushuang panted heavily and said with disdain, "Are you just this strength?" The ancient temple in the pile of rocks did not answer. Jian Wushuang could clearly feel the breath of the other party, and he didn't think that the ancient temple had just fallen. "I heard that you frozen demon race can transform after reaching the tribulation realm. I don't know if it is true or not." Jian Wushuang stared down and continued, "If you don't use it anymore, I won't give you a chance." After seeing Jian Wushuang blasting against the ancient temple, the people below felt that Jian Wushuang was about to win. But they were all taken aback when they saw Jian Wushuang did not take advantage of the victory. They couldn't hear Jian Wushuang's voice. They could only see Jian Wushuang's lips moving. Jian Wushuang, who came up with the intent to fight, didn't want to just kill the opponent like this. At least have to come up with some strength that surprises him. Otherwise it's too wasteful. He didn't use his origin to fight the opponent anymore. If he didn't show some strength, he would be a little bit sorry for him. The ancient temple stood up from the pile of rocks, slapped the dust on his body, and walked out faintly. When he looked up at Jian Wushuang, the corners of his eyes trembled. "Do you know that I can transform? So I am not afraid that I will kill you after my strength soars." The ancient temple's voice was low. Transformation is the secret method of their clan's talent. There are very few people who know, and the human race in front of him actually knows that his status is not low, and his status in the temple of Qishan is very high. At this time, the thinking of the ancient temple was still in Mora time and space in ancient times. His strength was not considered strong at the beginning. In the robbery realm, he can only be regarded as an ordinary member. Jian Wushuang was able to suppress him, indicating that Jian Wushuang's strength was not very good. In his impression, there are many 5 tribulations realm powerhouses in the Qishan temple. There are also 3 major gods, and they are superpowers in the 6 tribulations realm. That's why Jian Wushuang's identity should not be very high. But to be able to know the secrets of their clan's talents, I am afraid it is extraordinary. It should be a kind of arrogant god in the temple of Qishan. Only Tianjiao, who is against the sky, can give him such an arrogant opportunity to transform. Jian Wushuang stared at the ancient temple, shook his head and said calmly, "You are so confident." Ha ha ha. The ancient temple burst into laughter. His eyes began to condense, and the aura on his body began to change, and continued. It seems that you don't know much. Do you think my transformation is simple? The frozen demon race. The reason why God did not rule Moroa time and space before the arrival of the ancient times is that it has a real ability. Do not rely on any foreign objects and secret methods. Simply relying on talent alone can dominate the long river of time and space. The sparsely numbered frozen demon race can be so strong. How can it be mediocre? Mortal witness. A group of white lights flickered, and the ancient temple laughed frantically. Prepare, are you ready for death? The white light exploded, and the dazzling light made Jian Wushuang even unable to open his eyes. I could only vaguely see a figure, curled up in a ball, slowly standing up. After the light disappeared, the breath receded. Jian Wushuang saw the appearance of the ancient temple after its transformation. It can be said that the appearance has changed drastically from before. From short and thin, to burly and strong. The face changed very little, and the two tentacles on the top of the head remained. For a while, Jian Wushuang couldn't feel the strength of the opponent. How about it? How satisfied with the appearance of this seat after transformation? The ancient temple opened his palm and slowly raised it. When Jian Wushuang was about to nod his head to answer, a powerful force instantly overturned him and retreated thousands of miles. Before he could stabilize his figure, the ancient temple had already arrived in front of him, and a top knee directly pressed Jian Wushuang to the ground. Squeezing Jian Wushuang's neck with one knee and looking down at Jian Wushuang, he said in a cold voice, "My current supernatural power is 180,000. Jian Wushuang's eyes shrank when he heard this number. 180,000? What kind of monster is that? Is this the superpower of the divine body stream? He had heard at the beginning that those who are strong in divine body flow will become stronger in the later stage. But I never thought it would be so outrageous. Previously, he felt that after the opponent's transformation, the strongest could reach 120,000, and even 130,000 would be considered good. Unexpectedly, it reached 180,000 directly. This divine power is probably directly comparable to the superpower in the Three Tribulations realm. No wonder the other party is so confident. You reading www.akanshu.com. What a surprise. The current Jian Wushuang, in the hands of the ancient temple, is really like a mortal. There is no room to fight back. Keep getting beaten up. The divine body has split, and it has dropped directly from 100,000 times to 60,000 times. The power of the beast also faded. The ancient temple tied Jian Wushuang's neck with its tail, and when he mentioned midair, he punched Jian Wushuang's chest with a punch. Soon the basic divine body could not be maintained. Jian Wushuang's divine body was completely shattered. The face was beaten full of blood. 6 holes bleeding. No. Played it. Jian Wushuang spit out a few words hard, his eyelids trying to close uncontrollably. However, the ancient temple did not stop, and continued to ravage Jian Wushuang, without forgetting to ridicule. Don't you want to see my real strength? Why can't I hold it? This time, Jian Wushuang really couldn't hold it anymore. Although his divine body has the blessing of the power of the beast god, it can indeed reach the battle power of the robbery, but it is far worse than the opponent. 100,000 and 180,000. It seems that there is a difference of 80,000, but in fact, it is infinitely different. Even if it was 10,000 more than Jian Wushuang, they couldn't beat the opponent. Not to mention, a full 80,000 more. Even if it uses 3 times the power of the beast to increase the divine body to 120,000, it is not an opponent. In the divine power competition, Jian Wushuang lost. But he can't be blamed either. The ancient temple is a strong robbery of the divine body flow. His current basic divine body is only 60,000, and after he joined the Tao, he is not very helpful to the divine body. It is still he himself spent countless treasures to upgrade to 60,000. How can he compare with the other party? Only when the beast soldier is complete, he has such a powerful divine power. If he waited for him to upgrade his body to the Emperor consummation, he would be able to fight the opponent. Chapter 56-45. Those special beings, the divine body at the peak, the limit can reach 80,000 times. If Jian Wushuang reached that level, and then raised the origin of the beast gods to the cosmic level, he might be able to use 5 times the power of the beast gods. Not afraid of ancient temples. But now, he had just succeeded in the harmony, and he couldn't reach that level after all the treasures were spent. After giving up the divine body, Jian Wushuang's thought power moved, and the power of life emerged instantly. Although the injury of the divine body did not return to its peak, the injury of Jian Wushuang's physical body healed instantly. As for the origin, even if the opponent has 180,000 supernatural powers, it will not hurt his origin starry sky. He lit up half of the universe, as well as the endless starry sky. Even if the Lord of the Universe is allowed to come over, there is no guarantee that Jian Wushuang's origin can be crushed. What's more, it is an ancient temple that takes the route of the gods. 18,000 divine bodies are indeed very powerful. It was already comparable to the ordinary 3 tribulations realm. And of course it was certainly not a match for the Lord of the Universe. It's not that simple to master the tribulation realm of the universe. And now, the ancient temple is facing a strong man who controls the half-sitting universe. Jian Wushuang's origin burst out instantly, and an aura that could affect the rules burst out, making the ancient temple's mind trembling. Eternal change. Guqi's eyes were shocked. He didn't expect Jian Wushuang to have such a powerful origin. I thought he was a strong man in the line of the divine body just like him, but turned out to be an existence who mastered the ultimate way. And when he felt the origin of Jian Wushuang, the ancient temple immediately let go of its tail in surprise, and threw Jian Wushuang aside, shuddering. "You are only an emperor." Jian Wushuang slowly stood up. The arc on his body also turned light blue. That was the power of the starry sky. This is the first time he has performed the ancient changes after he joined the road and reached the peak state. Why is it surprising? Jian Wushuang's eyes became unusually tough. Song. When he raised his hand and pulled out the Julian sword from behind, time and space stopped flowing. The ancient temple was even scared back. That power reminded him of the original Lord of the Universe. "I've played enough, you should die too." A huge sword shadow appeared between heaven and earth. This made everyone tremble. A sword struck the ancient temple with 180,000 divine bodies. His eyes only felt a little asymmetry, but the next moment the body was transformed into 2 pieces. Jian Wushuang opened up hundreds of swords in an instant, and the ancient temple was turned into pieces in astonishment. Raising his hand, a group of huge forces of all things condensed force directly burst. Boom! After the power of all things burst, the body of the ancient temple turned into blood and floated in the void. Jian Wushuang was surprised, but he didn't kill the opponent. The divine body of 180,000 times is really extraordinary. However, the ancient temple turned into flesh and blood was directly swallowed by his swallowing power and entered into the palm of his hand. Under the suppression of the powerful starry sky, the consciousness remaining in the blood was directly destroyed. Only blood containing endless power is left. Call. Jian Wushuang instilled the blood into the beast god weapon and let out a sigh of relief. Finally solved. Without using the starry sky catalog, he can kill the strong at the pinnacle of the second tribulation realm. Of course, although the combat power of the ancient temple had reached the threshold of the 3 tribulations, it was a purely divine body route after all, and it was still a little too weak. In addition, after being suppressed for so many years, the 18 divine body did not play a big role. So he solved it. It can only be regarded as the peak and consummation of the second tribulation. If he showed the starry sky catalog, he could match the ordinary 3 tribulations realm powerhouse. As for the Lord of the Universe, he might not be the opponent. In the 3 tribulations realm, there is a huge gap between the powerhouses who have mastered the universe's tribulation realm and those who do not. This can't be calculated. If you fight in the universe controlled by the Lord of the Universe, you will fall as many as the 3 tribulations realm. In his dojo, the Lord of the Universe is almost invincible. This also made Jian Wushuang very interested in his own thought universe. If the universe of his thoughts can become the real universe, it can be an abnormal dojo. By that time, wouldn't he be invincible directly below the Four Tribulations realm, and even rival the Four Tribulations realm powerhouse? Thinking of this, Jian Wushuang couldn't help but get excited. He is still an emperor now, and the realm of the universe has not yet been truly completed. Once he lights up a whole universe in the original starry sky, I am afraid he will be able to display the real universe. Continue to practice? This is obviously wrong. No matter how generous the real spirit is, it is impossible to give him all the treasures. Still have to go out and do it on your own. 65 floors. Jian Wushuang easily opened up a cave. It's just that this time there is no desolate beast. He really wanted to kill another head. Now the origin of the beasts and god soldiers can be as good as entering the origin level of the universe, and they are still a bit weak. It is not as powerful as the half-universe in his body. Forget it, find it by yourself later. Jian Wushuang shook his head. This time he was satisfied. After opening up the cave, let the second soul stay behind, and the deity went to the 60th floor. When Huiqing and Shang saw him, their eyes were full of colors. At this moment, even the relatively dull Huiqing had a resilience, and wanted to surpass Jian Wushuang's resilience. In fact, Jian Wushuang was the same as them before. Yu reading www.akanshu.com. Remember when he was in the court of the Three Kings, he saw Huiqing's success in joining the Tao. Wasn't he envious? Seeing Shang's strength and rivaling Fuego's recovery, he is even more yearning. Now that he has succeeded in harmony, not only has he surpassed them, but he has also opened a great distance. The strong road is right. Jian Wushuang's heart is extremely firm, and he will keep going. In congratulations, the three had a good chat. This was the first time I had chatted with Shang. Jian Wushuang learned about the secrets of the primitive universe from the other side, and also learned a lot about his personal thoughts. As for the travel to other time and space, he did not say. After all, the true spirit has no quasi-trust. Wouldn't it be embarrassing if the real spirit didn't agree to it after all? Just when the three of them were about to enter Huiqing's cave and recount their old feelings, the true spirit came, and the sword did not move. True spirit transmission. The three went to the top of the mountain together. This made Jian Wushuang very happy. Explained that it's really moving. Perhaps it was his strength that moved the true spirit, or the true spirit had confidence in them. In fact, from Jian Wushuang's point of view, Shang had a good temperament, and he was a perfect inheritor. It is also a strong man of righteousness. The unity of knowledge and action is a true gentleman. Huiqing doesn't need to say more. In terms of personality, he has some stains on the contrary. After repeated betrayals, the true spirit can believe him, so much trust. Thinking of this, Jian Wushuang's heart was moved. In order to restore the glory of the Temple of Qi, it is my duty. Regret in the pavilion. When the three of Jian Wushuang arrived, there were already several people waiting here. The backbone Luo, who was originally ranked 3rd, the Emperor Guangying who ranked 4th, and Jian Wushuang's old acquaintance Zhen Wuyang. Chapter 56-46. 6 people were standing, and only true spirit was sitting alone. It's just such a thing. You all go back and think about it. This time there are no more than 10 people going to another time and space, and you must never tell anyone. After the real spirit finished speaking, everyone dispersed, but Jian Wushuang was left behind. I knew about this when I went back, and made a decision in my heart. It was very easy. Other people are different, especially the older generation of powerhouses in the primitive universe. Zhen Wuyang and Shang. The two of them took a great look at the time and space of the outside world, especially the primitive universe. Feeling that the real spirit asked them to go to other long rivers of time and space. This is a naked escape. There is hesitation in my heart. However, the backbone of Luo and Guangying are very relaxed. They just consider the gains and losses, and don't care about the outside world. Actually, it's right to think about it. They don't have much feelings for the outside world. After coming to the Temple of Qixin, I just wanted to be stronger, but didn't even think about giving back. Otherwise, the outside world will be like that, and the two will not go out. The business is closed, otherwise he will go out. The deity of Zhen Wuyang has been conquering the outside world. There is also the Tongtian Buddha, who has not even left the avatar, and is now commanding 16 universes from the outside world, fighting head-on with the Temple of Destruction. These talents are the backbone of the future. No wonder the real spirit hesitated. It is also for this reason. In case of raising a white-eyed wolf, it's not good. Only the two of them were left, and Jian Wushuang was not polite, and sat down directly. Zhenling even poured tea on Jian Wushuang himself. Thanks, Tusk. Taste it. This is the tea of your time and space. I don't know when I want to drink it in the future. That's also true. After Zhensong Jian Wushuang and the others left, I'm afraid they won't be able to return without tens of thousands of eras. Ordinary Tribulation Realm simply doesn't work. At least the 3 Tribulations Realm, or even the 4 Tribulations Realm, can play a certain role. The current candidates are all seedlings of the Tribulation Realm. The opportunity has arrived. It's not difficult to become a catastrophe, but how far you can go depends on your own ability. In fact, in the long run, practitioners like Zhenwuyang and Tongtian Buddha can actually go farther. Because of its strong adaptability, this is why Zhenling was particularly optimistic about Shang at first. Too bad is not good, because the road is difficult to follow. Just like Jian Wushuang, Daojun can kill Zhu Ding, how defying the sky. But then I think about it, Hui Qing, the backbone Luo and others of the same era, before Jian Wushuang combined with Dao, were already the best. That is, Jian Wushuang won the bet. Hadao succeeded and surpassed everyone. If the harmony fails, I am afraid that the strength is not as good as these people. The risk is too great. There are very few opportunities in the future, but I will definitely do my best to come back as soon as possible. Jian Wushuang said firmly, whether it's for the homeland universe, or this long river of time and space, or it's because of the power of death. He has to face extinction and cannot escape. This is fate. Zhenling still had some confidence in Jian Wushuang, and was not afraid that Jian Wushuang would really run away. How much do you know about extinction now? Zhenling asked tentatively. Since the birth of extinction, there is actually very little connection between the two. But in the cave mansion of the Mahayana Lingshan, Jian Wushuang went to the once fragmented Mora time and space, and saw a lot. Only then can we understand the extinction. Jian Wushuang didn't conceal anything, and now said the power of death, and the power of life. He felt that the reason why this matter was so complicated was not only because of the power of life, but also because of the gods. It's just not easy to say. If the extinction was purely for him, I'm afraid he would have been annihilated long ago. That will wait till now. After hearing this, Zhenling nodded slightly inside. Have you seen the future of this long river of time and space? As soon as this sentence came out, Jian Wushuang jumped. When subconsciously wanted to shake his head, he was stunned. Zhenling waved his hand, and on the case in front of the two, there appeared a time and space origin, and a time and space origin that had been shrouded in darkness. This long river of time and space will eventually perish. This is the prophecy of a strong man. Jian Wushuang was stunned when he heard this sentence. At first he thought that the true spirit could see that he had traveled to the future, but he did not expect that someone had predicted the changes in the future time and space. This long river of time and space will be destroyed. Destroy the Temple of Qi together. Seeing the shocked look on Jian Wushuang's face, Zhenling smiled slightly and said, "Of course, you don't need to believe in the prophecy of that existence." When Jian Wushuang entered the future time and space, he was convinced that in the future world, he failed in harmony and eventually fell. As for the subsequent destruction of time and space, he didn't know. But being able to see the future failure, he felt that there might be some connection. Is this existence the power of the Qixin Temple? Jian Wushuang asked curiously. The Lord of the Universe can do this by predicting the future. The first true king at the time also predicted the future of the Three Kings' court. Unfortunately, It is impossible to predict and accurately meet some people who are against the sky. This is also the reason why Jian Wushuang is able to join forces successfully. Really want to predict so accurately? You reading www.akanshu.com. He may have failed. Isn't this except for me? There is no such superpower in the Qishan temple. And even the original body is not so powerful. Zhenling gave a wry smile and shook his head. If there is such a strong presence in the temple of Qishan, how could he be so passive? Jian Wushuang frowned slightly and asked, then this senior, why does he help Qishan temple predict the future? Since the other party predicted that the temple of Qishan would be destroyed in the long river of time and space, it must have some connection with the temple of Qishan. Otherwise, this kind of thing will not be thrown out for no reason. Just like now, suddenly came an existence that he couldn't see through, and told him directly that he would become a powerful person in the 9 tribulations realm in the future. So he definitely didn't believe it. Speaking of it, it doesn't have much to do with the temple of Qishan, but I have some personal acquaintances with the master of the palace Xuani, so I am willing to tell the other party. No need to say more about Zhenling now. Jian Wushuang understood a little bit. No wonder the Xuanwu temple and Qishan temple are a bit incompatible. It turns out that after listening to the words of an old guy, he was ready to run away in advance. And he didn't even think about returning to the Qishan temple. Zhenling seemed to see Jian Wushuang's thoughts and quickly corrected. Xuanwu temple is actually not easy. The family property of these years has almost been wiped out because of the appearance of extinction. Outside the battle, the Shrine of Extinction has holy water to help practitioners perform sacrificial rituals and enhance their combat power. Qishan temple is a puppet of Xuanwu temple. Only then can I barely suppress the opponent. If Xuanwu Hall ran away, Qishan Hall would now fall below. I believed in this prophecy before, but after seeing you, I changed my mind. Zhenling said, standing up. Previously, he had thought that the one who destroyed this long river of time and space was the inheritor cultivated by his temple of Qishan. Chapter 56-47. Now he realized that after extinction was born, it is extinction. He is the real murderer behind the scenes. As for the inheritors, they will destroy the long river of time and space because of the extinction. This is the real root problem. So it is necessary to solve the extinction. As for the inheritor, it doesn't matter anymore. The temple of destroying the world also has inheritors. Maybe they are from the other side. Don't worry about him. Jian Wushuang sat cross-legged and didn't ask any more, but fell into silence. Predicting the future, able to be so accurate. Who is that existence in the end, has reached that state again. By the way, do you have any suitable candidates to talk about? The construction of the space-time channel is about to begin. No more than 10 people are enough. Zhenling turned to look at Jian Wushuang, pulling the topic away. The destruction of time and space is still somewhat depressing. Jian Wushuang raised his head and looked at the true spirit. He really had a few suitable candidates. How about Wuxia? After hearing Wuxia's name, Zhenling was stunned. Unexpectedly, Jian Wushuang would mention Wuxia's name. For a while, Zhenling took a deep breath. He couldn't think of it. He would come up with the name Wuxia, looked at Jian Wushuang in surprise and said, "Why do you think of him? It just feels that this person is not simple, has mediocre strength, but can become a named disciple of the gods, and has lived from the ancient times to the present. This is the only ancient practitioner who has not fallen apart from extinction." After hearing Jian Wushuang's explanation, Zhenling's heart also moved. I haven't really thought about this issue before. Wuxia was able to live to the present, even drifting through the endless starry sky with Qishan Temple, and came to this long river of time and space. None of them fell. This luck is also great. Don't look at it. Now Wuxia has bad luck, and can't even get along with the palace lord. But across the long river of time and space, at least if it is a strong robbery realm, Wuxia is a superb, able to live to this day. It is a bit abnormal. List him as a candidate. Jian Wushuang nodded, and then continued. Wanyan and Dongxing should also be sent over. This time Jian Wushuang changed his mind and didn't want to get all those super inheritors over. It's better to cultivate some loyal ones. Don't get a group of selfish people, he won't be able to direct then. Now Dongxing and Wanyan are both good at strength. Dongxing has become the absolute powerhouse, catching up with the first batch of emperors who entered the Temple of Qixin. Although they are not as good as Zhen Wuyang for the time being, they also have great potential in the follow-up. I will send their deity here, and there will be some tests for them in the follow-up. Jian Wushuang naturally didn't have much opinion on this, and everything was decided by the true spirit. He just gave a suggestion. Plus some people on the Tomb God Mountain, it's almost enough. Jian Wushuang said. Huiqing Backbone Luo, Guangying Zhenmiang Tongtian Buddha, Shang Dongxing Wanyan Wuzhua. Plus Jian Wushuang, exactly 10 people. After a while, I will put them in a targeted test, and it's up to them whether they can pass. Zhenling did not give Jian Wushuang a quasi-trust either. But this has made Jian Wushuang very satisfied. At least it wasn't that he went to a strange time and space alone, with some people accompanying him. By the way, I have one more thing left behind you this time, and I need your help. Zhenling looked at Jian Wushuang and said his plan. After Jian Wushuang heard it, he clapped and applauded. The odds of winning plus 10%. Resuscitate the gods. The second era after Jian Wushuang ascended to the 65th floor of the Tomb Mountain. In the Tomb of the Gods, a stalwart figure appeared. That was a body in the Tribulation realm. Climbed out of the tomb, and stood in the chaos of the Tomb of the Gods. Mischief! Jian Wushuang spent a whole epoch, consumed countless life force, and finally revived the body of Qixin. The true spirit also took advantage of the trend to enter the body of the gods. The figure keeps shrinking until it reaches the size of 10,000 battles. Jian Wushuang stood in the chaos, like a grain of sand. Compared with the Qixin's body, no matter its strength or size, it was far worse. Haha, with this physical body, I will be able to break the rules of the Qixin temple and go to the long river of time and space. Qixin said excitedly. The previous true spirit could not leave the temple of Qixin at all. Now that there is a true spirit behind the body, not only has its strength skyrocketed, it has reached the half-step 7 tribulations realm, and it can also enter and leave the temple of forbidding at will. The worry about extinction has also been reduced a lot. At the same time, feel confident that Jian Wushuang and others can travel to other time and space. It's not that he is too careful, but that he knows one thing very well. There is vitality in Jiang Shang's body. Perhaps the extinction can reach the perfect body without Jian Wushuang. In this way, death and life are combined to achieve the pinnacle road. Congratulations, sir, I have been born again. Jian Wushuang looked tired, but there was joy in his heart. He couldn't let him carry it all alone. Now that the true spirit has reached the half-step 7 tribulations realm, it is indeed a big hole card for dealing with extinction in the future. In the current extinction, it is not known that the true spirit has revived the body of the god. At that time, you can be caught off guard. Wrap the Qixin's body, and then receive the body. The true spirit looked at Jian Wushuang and smiled. This time thanks to your vitality. Otherwise, even if you exhaust all the treasures of the Qixin's temple, you will not be able to revive this body. This is true. Jian Wushuang's strong life force would take an epoch. It is conceivable how much life force is needed to restore the Qixin's body. The treasures of the Temple of Qixin are dead. Jian Wushuang is alive, and can continuously generate life force. It's just a matter. Jian Wushuang shook his head. This little help is nothing. In this epoch, he continued to give birth to the power of life, and he was able to take the opportunity to hone his manipulation of the power of life, which was regarded as killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Zhenling raised his brows, and his complexion changed. A breath came from the Tomb Mountain. Jian Wushuang saw that something was wrong, and at the same time looked in the direction of the Tomb Mountain. A new breath rose to the sky. That is the power of Tribulation Realm. Someone broke. Go take a look. Zhenling's eyes narrowed even more this time with a smile. who says that good fortune comes, misfortune never comes singly. This time, it was not just double happiness. The two of them instantly descended to the top of Tomb God Mountain. In the 60 floors below, a beam of light rose into the sky, and there was a figure in it. Business. After feeling the breath of the other party, Jian Wushuang was not too surprised. Shang's first breakthrough, which is the same as they guessed. There is no surprise. However, in this way, I am afraid that Shang will not be able to enter other time and space with them. This breath immediately shocked many people. One after another came out to watch. Chapter 56-48. At this time, on the 60th floor besides Shang, there was one more person, Wuxia. Since Jian Wushuang proposed to take Wuxia to other time and space, the true spirit tested them and brought Wuxia to the Tomb Mountain to practice with the inheritors. Unexpectedly, Wuxia's potential really gave Zhenling a surprise without hitting it, and he actually reached the 60th floor. As for Huiqing, she has now reached the 65th floor. Become a neighbor with Jian Wushuang. The speed of the breakthrough made Jian Wushuang feel a sense of suffocation. No loss as the first inheritor. The light beam covered the entire Tomb Mountain, and after a stick of incense, it slowly disappeared. Shang also walked out from the cave. The strength of the body has changed a lot. In congratulations, Shang followed the true spirit to the top. Jian Wushuang returned to his cave. This time he revived the body of the godhead, and his soul was exhausted, and it was time to rest. The next step is to prepare for going to other time and space, not to be careless. As for Shang's breakthrough, Jian Wushuang didn't feel the pressure, so it's not as great as Huiqing's pressure on him. Even if Shang breakthrough has become a tribulation realm, it feels to him that it is not as powerful as the ancient temple that has not been transformed. The ancient temple that was killed at the beginning was the pinnacle of the first tribulation realm before its transformation. Even the power that rivals the three tribulations realm. This is not his opponent, let alone Shang. Now that Shang has broken through, he lacks a spot, and he doesn't have a suitable candidate, so he doesn't even consider recommending it. Leave the headache to Jinling alone. Lying comfortably on the stone bed in the cave, Jian Wushuang slept for a whole year before returning the power of his soul to its peak. During this year, the true spirit also transmitted to him whatever treasures he needs. Even if he mentions it, he is satisfied with everything that can be satisfied. And the time of departure has been determined. 300 years later, they gathered in the Hulun Mountains in the heavens. Jian Wushuang was a little surprised by this. It wasn't that the true spirit was so generous, but that he wanted to go to the heaven. He thought he would be in the tomb of God. But it's nothing you can arrive in one day. Phew! Jian Wushuang casually crushed the sound transmission jade slip, stood up and moved his limbs. At the same time began to calculate the treasures that are missing now. After he joined the Tao, he hadn't practiced well, and the realm that should be improved had not been improved. There are indeed a lot of treasures missing. In the realm, even if there are treasures, it takes time to cultivate. With only 300 years left now, Jian Wushuang would naturally not cultivate in the universe. Instead, he chose the divine body. The appearance of the ancient temple made him yearning for the powerhouse of the divine body route. In particular, I have seen records in some ancient books that many of the early days of the long river of time and space were flow of gods. What if the long river of time and space, where he went, is also popular with the flow of gods and bodies? Wouldn't it be exposed to use the source? Therefore, the divine body route cannot be abandoned. Although there are many treasures needed for the strong, as long as the strength is strong, there will be no shortage of treasures. After taking his attention, Jian Wushuang took out the identity token in the Tomb God Mountain and told the true spirit all the treasures he needed. When Zhenling sitting on the top of the mountain saw the treasure Jian Wushuang needed, his eyes were round. He was not generous at first, and finally he was generous once, but he still calculated carefully. There are only 300 years left, and if these people ask for it, how much can he use? Unexpectedly, Jian Wushuang would be so cruel, suddenly demanding 100 million cubic cosmic crystals of the divine body treasure. That is a treasure worth 100 million square meters. It is not easy for a robber realm expert to come up with so many cosmic crystals. These treasures are enough for Jian Wushuang to cultivate the divine body to 100,000 times. He didn't believe that Jian Wushuang could cultivate a body to 100,000 times in 300 years. At the same time, the 10 candidates selected this time are all the treasures of the gods. Even Huiqing, who is honest, has chosen the treasure of the gods. They are not stupid, they only have 300 years. And there is no shortcut to improve other strengths except for the promotion of the divine body. Forget it, it's time for you to practice it. Zhenling shook his head distressedly. However, he still didn't want to suffer. The deity left for the primitive realm, looking for the lord of the god of wealth, Zhu Yi. In a short while the current embarrassing situation was resolved. On the Tomb God Mountain, in the super teleportation array, the 9 people came together, causing many people around to watch. So far, the strongest inheritors of the Tomb Mountain have actually appeared together. This is an unprecedented grand occasion. Had it not been for the business breakthrough, I am afraid it would be 10 people together now. Brother Wushuang, it seems that the hero sees the same thing. Dongsheng laughed loudly from the side. Among these 9 people, apart from the backbone Luo and Guangying, they all have a good relationship with Jian Wushuang. A few people chatted at random, and people directly opened the teleportation array. The true spirit asked them to go to a secret realm in the primitive world, where there is a natural divine body treasure that can enhance their divine body. This brought everyone together all at once. At the same time, the true spirit also informed them by sound transmission that there is a strong man who went with them to other time and space, is waiting for them there. This made Jian Wushuang very curious about who would go to other time and space with them. He knows a little bit about some famous inheritors in the Temple of Qixin. I'm afraid there are not many people who can enter the real spiritual eye, but there will be an answer soon. 9 people descended, primitive world. The familiar breath came over. When I entered the Temple of Qixin for the first time, I entered this place. Dianxian entered the primitive world, and Yanxian entered the Xuanwu Hall. The emperor went to the Azure Dragon Palace. Everything seems to be yesterday. As soon as the 9 people arrived, a familiar figure came to greet them. Zhu Qi. Many people knew each other, and there was no need to introduce them, so I took them directly to that secret realm. Primitive realm is somewhat similar to the Great Wilderness, and both are relatively desolate. When the group flew a stick of incense, they arrived at the secret realm that Zhenling said. It is a secret place in the mountains and forests. When looking from a distance, there is nothing special, but when I felt it up close, they were all shocked. This mountain forest is not as simple as it looks. It's supernatural power. Jian Wushuang was the first to discover the strangeness. The secret realm here actually has supernatural power. It is very similar to the original divine power universe. It is an excellent place to enhance the divine body. Zhu Qi stopped his figure and said, "There is a sacred spring in the mountain forest secret realm. You only need to absorb the power from it 10 battles away. If you are too close, you will eat back the sacred body." After speaking, he turned and left. Several people glanced at each other and rushed down without hesitation. The special divine power draws them. Go directly to the core of the mountain forest. The spring is deep in the forest. Chapter 5649. At this time, there was already a person sitting cross-legged. The 9 quickly found a place to fight, forcibly tore through the space, and instantly entered a damp cave. Seeing that someone had arrived, the practitioner who had been sitting cross-legged also opened his eyes. A pair of phoenix eyes contained red flames. "Who are you?" Except for Wuzhua. Everyone else was surprised and asked in unison. Only Wuzhua stared at the other side, with a trace of fear in his eyes. Because he knows the person in front of him. "I thought it would be an inheritor. But I didn't look like the other party. I have never heard of such a powerful female nun on Tomb God Mountain. A blast of flame power swept in instantly. Except for Jian Wushuang and Hui Qing. They all took a half step back. These people are not vegetarians. The other party dares to do something. Can this be used to her? When he raised his hand to fight back, Wuxia stopped them, and at the same time revealed the identity of the opponent. She is Fan Feng. When they heard this name, the 9 people instantly understood. Jian Wushuang frowned when he heard it. Fan Feng, the head of the 18 generals. They had all heard of this name. But they didn't expect that this time Jinling would arrange for such a character to follow them. Wuxia did not speak but just nodded. In addition to the title of the head of the 18 gods, the other party also has another identity. That is, the sister of the great Emperor Juyin. But this, only Wuxia and Jian Wushuang knew. Fan Feng didn't even look at Wuxia, but at Jian Wushuang, and then said coldly, "Have you pulled out her sword?" It seemed that the sister of the great Emperor Juyin was at odds with the great Emperor Juyin. There was hostility towards Jian Wushuang in his eyes. It is precisely because of this that Jian Wushuang is a bit unpleasant to the other party. And he is also cursing secretly in his heart. Why Jinling made such a thing to give them? He looks like I am not our enemy forever. I don't know if I think the other party is a god. The name is not loud, but the shelf is quite big. The other few people were not very interested in Fan Feng, the head of the 18 gods, and they found a place to sit cross-legged, preparing to upgrade their gods. Wuxia said through a voice transmission, "Brother Wushuang, or let's join forces and kill this lady first." What a joke! She is the person arranged by Master True Spirit. Not to mention killing the other party just because of some small things. I am not a born murderer. Jian Wushuang replied in an angry voice transmission. But for this Fan Feng, he really didn't like it. Only after a faint answer, he ignored the other party. I hope the other party will not do anything, or the leg will be interrupted by her. What about the head of the 18 gods? His current strength is not weaker than the great Emperor Juyin back then. The great Emperor Juyin back then was able to match the Lord of the Universe. And he could also do it. This Fan Feng's strength is almost meaningless. Moreover, this person must be reported to Juxian, and his mind is very small. According to Wuxia, these two are also rivals. Of course, it could also be that Wuxia was beaten violently by the opponent, the head of the 18 gods. This in the original Mora time and space, at least can be ranked in the top 3 of the Emperor. Whereas Wuxia's opponent, had it not been for him to stand by, I am afraid Wuxia would not dare to breathe when he saw the other party. So that now it is about to cultivate, Wuxia is close to him. He didn't care about this. This time, traveling to another time and space, he still needs the help of these people. Naturally act as the leader. But among them, some people may not convince him. For example, the 2 old guys Jin Wuyang and Tong Tian Buddha. Don't look at it as one universe, but these 2 people's minds are not good. So Hui Qing and Wuxia can be trusted completely. Dongsheng and Wanyan are also good. Had friendships. At that time, he will fully support him. In this way, there are 5 people on his side. The other few people can't get through the waves. Phew. Just sitting down cross-legged, Jian Wushuang felt a divine power attack, and his swallowing power instantly enveloped the opponent and sent it into his body. This place is really extraordinary. At a distance of 10 battles, almost one breath would have a rush of divine power for him to absorb. It's just that he thinks the speed is a bit slow. The rest of the people absorbed it for a while, and they were able to feel it clearly. This speed is far from enough. Looking at Fan Feng's side, it was only 5 battles away from Kuan Yin. Brother Wuxia, what do you think? Jian Wushuang asked tentatively. Wuxia's divine body is 70,000 times larger, and I am afraid that the supply and demand of divine power is too slow at this distance. It's a bit slow. Wuxia replied directly. At this moment, the 9 people got up at the same time and walked forward one after another. It seems that Zhu Qi doesn't know much about his strength, so he will say that within 10 battles, he will have a backlash against them. They all believed it at first. Among these 10 people, Fan Feng's divine body is the most powerful. at least 80,000 times. The second is Wuxia. As for the others, including Huiqing, they are about 60,000 times the same as Jian Wushuang. It was 6 times that of Jian Wushuang. Among these people, they all belong to the bottom. Dongxing has 60,003. Thinking of the ancient temples back then, Yu reading www.akanshu. When Com said 180,000, Jian Wushuang couldn't help taking 2 more steps forward with the invincible breath. Stayed directly at a distance of 5 battles. Huiqing also followed. Anyone who can be at this distance needs a strong person who can transform very quickly. Although Wuxia's divine body was powerful, the speed of transformation was a bit slow, and he stopped after only 6 battles. No reluctance. It was the backbone Luo who refused to admit defeat and walked the distance of 5 battles. The continuous divine power attack made his complexion turn purple, but after a while, he still endured it. Regarding this, Jian Wushuang smiled from the bottom of his heart and ignored it, but began his own immersion practice. In one day, Jian Wushuang raised his divine body almost 100 times. It really helped a lot. If you are outside, not only will the speed be slow, but you will need more treasures. The divine power here is more pure, and when absorbed, the speed of absorption without impurities is also very fast. 10 years later, now all 9 of them can reach the distance of 5 battles. Fan Feng, the arbitrarily determined general, had reached a distance of 3 battles. The power of the opponent's divine body made them dumbfounded. It has been nearly 90,000 times faster, and the speed of improvement is not 1.5 stars faster than them. Among the 9 of them, the one who has improved the fastest is the Tongtian Buddha, who has only increased by 5,000 times in 10 years, and his divine body has reached about 70,000 times. As for Jian Wushuang, although the transformation and absorption were fast, his promised divine body required too much divine power, only increased by 3,000 times. But this is just the beginning, so the speed of promotion is a bit slow. The later, the faster his speed will be, until it surpasses everyone. This is the benefit of the promised divine body. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.